I'ma just chill and watch them and eat snacks in the attic. I wanted to chill with the pack and be like a young whoop, but then they would mistake me for addict. If I can imagine it's cool to give you some advice, then invite your girl to your squadron. Cause if you don't give her that option, you gon' be single player like Sovereign. You gon' get tossed in the bushes by King David. Royalty and not a pretender. Detrimental to an elemental, what's an avatar to a knee bender? I gotta be me though. I know it's my destiny, word to Cognito. Who cares if you fly, if you still a mosquito? You swear you ain't stuntin', but really be Steve-O. You like to collect stuff and that's cool, but I got bad news. Even if you really was that dude, King David still be the king of the statues. Since a juvenile, I've been cursed with a curse to be musical. And if you hate it, we'll meet in the crucible. Other than that, then it's cool and it's beautiful. We let you know that your dreams are pursuable. Whatever you wanna do, then it's doable. If you got work on a Sunday, it's suitable. Cause you can listen to this in your cubicle on the Lord's Day. Woo. If you got work on a Sunday, it's suitable. Cause you can listen to this in your cubicle on the Lord's Day.
Over, switching over. Let me get some levels right quick. Mic check, attic and all that good stuff. Check it out.
Hello.
Hello.
Be sure to put that barrier back up.
Put it back on right now. You're, I know.
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain.
We do tongue twisters for the
Our drama. La 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 la.
All right, hear ye.
I got karaoke tomorrow night.
And of course, we are live. And welcome to the Our Lords Podcast, LLC, and also live on lordsofgaming.net. Episode number 292. It's another glorious Sunday. We're back at the round table on the Lord's Day. And today, I'm extremely excited about our special guest. And we've got ControlFreak, a Game Pass dominated future, PSVR 2 reviews, and Firaxis games to discuss. So we're going to get right into it. I want to introduce a Lord whose iconic rise as a young prodigy within the games industry is truly a testament to his immense talent and his dare to dream, but whose unreal contributions truly elevated him to rock star status within gaming culture. Introducing the entrepreneur and designer of Jazz Jackrabbit, Unreal, and the Gears of War franchise, plus author of the insightful ControlFreak memoir, the Lord of Epic Adventures in a Mad World, who turned the needy into the greedy with great games. His success came speedy, live from North Carolina, and kind enough to make his debut into the realm of the Lords. My man, Lord Cliff Blezenski, a.k.a. CliffyB. How we doing, sir?
That was quite the introduction, actually. Thank you very, very much.
Try to give you some iced tea bars. I try to give you
some. Don't make me do my iced tea voice.
I had nothing. Yeah, y'all wanted it. Y'all had everything. Oh, y'all flaunted it.
Yeah, turn the needy into the greedy with my games, my success came speedy.
You see what I'm doing? You see what I'm doing?
Watch me flip and rip with a freedom tip over your mind to the point of the ice pick.
Okay. Let's go. Okay, I already see what we're doing. I already see what type of show it's going to be. First of all, how you doing, sir? Absolute legend. How you been?
I'm doing my thing these days. Like I was saying earlier, I'm sleeping until noon and doing press appearances whenever I want to. And I wrote a stinking book, which I'm continuing to plug everywhere.
But I see this thing. It's kind of
we didn't notice. We didn't notice that.
It's kind of a cool situation going on.
Yeah,
actually going to give a digital copy away sometime during the podcast.
Oh, you mean this?
You mean this? People love free stuff.
Yeah. So
look, honestly, it was almost a deal breaker with you guys in regards to doing this podcast and the whole swearing thing.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna act like my little niece is right here next to me because she called me out recently. She's like, I was like, "You stinking kids need to get the heck inside the house," and she looks at me and she goes, "You were gonna say bad words, weren't you?" I said, yeah, I was. Thanks.
She knew what she was capable of. Now, look, man, I appreciate. Look, we know slip ups happen. Look, if Jaffe got through, I was surprised. He to the end, right? I would say he gave us like a.
You know what I used to call him was David Gaffey. He would always his quotes would just be the most. You're like, wait, Dave, what are you saying now, man? Like, and Dave's just like, screw the games industry. I'm just gonna go off and do my own podcast and do my own thing. I have enough money, and I'm like, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Shout out to the legendary Jaffe. With all the stuff you got going on, has there been any chance to play games recently? And if so, what have you been playing specifically?
I played that game where you can modify the scale of things. It's got the weirdest name. You just change the everything. I can't. I'm so bad. I'm all about my Switch these days. I love retro. I love retro platformers. Did you guys see the sales on the Switch, by the way?
Yeah.
Man.
It's encroaching on the PlayStation 2 for like the #1 selling console.
Yeah. What is up to?
I think it overtook them.
They're third right now, right? Overall, solve or no?
It overall overtook PS4.
Oh,
so it's got to beat DS and PS2.
It's ridiculous.
No, so the thing, what has my attention right now, there's this stupid version of this game called Cleopatra's Fortune. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It was like a 1990s puzzler game, right? And it's kind of like Tetris, but it's actually slightly harder. But for some reason, I find it therapeutic. And like, I don't know if you guys saw that trailer for the Tetris movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Attic watched it.
I have said it before, and I'll say it a million times. Tetris is the greatest game of all time.
Wait, can you repeat that to Lord Attic? Can you tell Lord Attic why Tetris? We have this argument with the young generation on our panel.
And I knew that I fell in love with my wife when we went to Mexico on a vacation, and we both had our Nintendo DSs, and she taught me what a T-spin was, because they added that to Tetris later on. Like, you kind of flip it around, and it was one of those things where she whipped my butt at Tetris. And I was like, I have to marry her.
That's right. No, so we're going to get into it. We got a lot to talk about. You already know we got the 4 horsemen of gaming, those original lords of the realm here at the round table with some time-sensitive intros because we're trying to maximize
That's right, Attic.
Time King. My co-host with the co-host, my brother from another mother, the difficult game conqueror, lord of his own world, and the how of the young wolf. My man, Lord Addict of the Attic Show, future Tetris lover. How we doing, sir?
Doing pretty good, man. I've been playing a lot of Hogwarts Legacy. It's a very unique game. I'm starting to see its flaws a little bit. Stuff's starting to annoy me more and more the more I play, but I still really enjoy the game. And that's where I'm going to cut. Appreciate Cliffy for coming on. It's going to be a great podcast, and I'm going to cut there because King going to probably take double of my space.
Get out of the
Attic, make sure the mic you're on is
make sure it's the right mic. Sound like you coming through another mic.
You
sound like you're not coming too super premium, that crispy. Anyway,
sound weird, sir.
And of course,
and don't pop the peas.
Yeah, don't pop the peas. Don't pop the peas. And of course,
does that sound better?
Yes.
Yes.
There we go. And of course, we have our most technical gaming lord, the solo gamer who lives for the single player selfish experience, and also the Sostradamus, the Lord of Clarity and Lord Patron of the Iron Bank. My man, Lord Sovereign. How we doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Only thing I played this week is Metroid Prime Remastered.
That I need to get.
Oh, yes. Brother. It's like a new game. It is a remaster because they haven't touched the source code, but it looks like a modern game, and it plays like you. The moment they gave you just regular controls, analog controls, and that's default now. Forget it. It plays like a different game. You don't need to lock on to anything. You could play it like Halo.
The lock on was a hack.
Right. Yeah. So, now forget it, man. It really is kind of, you can see how special it is now, really. So that's what I've been playing. We watched Ant-Man Quantumania last night with the Lords. I know. You know how it is once every 3 months.
Once every 3 months. Yeah. Shout out to Quantumania.
It's usually a Marvel movie.
Of course.
Reviews aren't that good for it, by the way.
I heard the reviews are bad.
I will just say we enjoyed it generally as a group. I just think it felt like it was weird for an Ant-Man movie to be that bombastic and feel kind of like a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, a lot of tropes.
Yeah, a lot of tropes in there. And then I just also felt like the strength of Kang and the fact that he's supposed to be this big bad overall for this entire sort of arc of the MCU. It didn't feel like it came through in this movie. But I mean, overall, I enjoyed it. I wasn't mad at the time I spent with it.
I can't wait to see it.
I think when it comes to that movie, it's like I thought it was a good movie, but I can understand why people didn't.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I get it. And shout out to Lord Meds.
Shout out to Lord Meds, brother.
Had an accident yesterday after we all left each other. Yeah, he's okay, but he hurt his leg. So.
Well, he fell down the steps?
Yeah, you know, Mads always uses, what is that thing?
He uses that unicycle thing. And
he
pulled up in that
we have
thing.
scooters in North Carolina here, and like
really,
it's a death trap.
It is a death trap.
No, listen, it's not even a scooter. He has a real unicycle.
Yeah,
it's one of those electric unicycles.
How hipster is this man?
That's funny.
I told him too the last time. I was like,
hopefully he's in the chat somewhere listening.
Man, if you're in the chat.
He's like, man, I can't do that. Segways are played out.
He's a super adrenaline junkie.
No doubt. So that's been it, sir?
That's been it.
And of course, we have the Incredible Hulk of this, aka the XS Gamer.
Ooh.
The prophet of Xbox.
Swami.
King of the statues, who demands nothing less than that premium experience. It is the leader of the fraud alert movement.
Ooh.
Beloved Lord King, how we doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Now that I have the creator of Marcus Phoenix in the building.
I want to see what's in that shelf behind you eventually.
Oh man, I'll definitely send you some pictures. I got to tell you.
I'm not seeing Decepticons there, am I? Or
oh no,
we gonna have some Transformers talk, or we gonna have some Transformers. I got to sneak a little in on that game because I know about
Team Autobot here.
Oh yes, for sure. Oh definitely, for sure. No Decepticons on this side. No Decepticons. No, because Decepticons be snitching. They be snitching.
Listen, man, I was a little kid when the Constructicons first came, and I saw Devastator. I was mind blown. But anyway,
I like the Predacons because
salute.
Yeah, that was when they were actually die-cast metal, right?
Yes.
Yep. Remember that? I was having that same conversation. I said I remember when they made the switch over from toys that can kill you to toys that can probably hurt you. And that's the thing. Like, you know, they used to be able to like shoot things out because one idiot kid in Ohio like shot his eye out, then they ruined it for everyone. Yep. Should have had on glasses.
Yeah, but. Cliffy, I saw you with that Mirage, man.
Yes,
a young and original. You know what I'm saying? It was official. Salute.
I grew up with Transformers, and I always loved Transformers. I have in my lower level what I call my Optimus Shrine.
Oh,
so like nice. Optimus, for those of us of our age, I don't know how old you guys are, but like
we're in the
Optimus
same pocket.
Was like
we're all in the same pocket except for Adam.
He's young.
Okay, well, Optimus was like our dad, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then sitting there in the theater, was it like 1986, 87?
Bro, yeah, man.
Yo, Cliffy, was you?
I still cried during that scene.
Bro, I was they tortured kids. Like kids were not ready for what was when you see the smoke leaving their mouth, and I'm like, oh my god, what are they doing?
No, they're dying. No, what happened was
it's the way they were dying, bro.
My cousin and I,
it was so dramatic.
Yes,
we cut school to go to see the movie, and this is gonna be my segment.
Okay.
We cut school to go see the movie. And I was the whole time. This is the first time I cut school, and I was like, "This is bad. But we snuck inside the Whitestone movie theater.
To the back, Whitestone.
Sat in there, quiet, sitting down, and the movie started, and they started killing Transformers. Yo, I said, my mother warned me. This is what happened.
This is what happens when you defy.
I said I cut school, and they're killing Transformers. And you know when Optimus died,
it's your fault.
My legs was weak. I couldn't leave the aisle. I said, oh my God, no. I said, this is what.
And the way his head turns.
Oh, the head turns, and Cliffy when the body goes gray.
They lost the color. They lost the color. I said, no, this is it. No. So okay, what I've been playing this week? Fortnite, Hi-Fi Rush.
You said the F word.
Yeah,
you had contributions, Cliffy. Come on,
that's the real curse word here, Kane.
Yeah, it's a bad curse word, but it's still good, Cliffy.
We gonna have a Cliffy talk too.
Also, I've been playing The Last of Us remastered and The Last of Us Part 1. Right? I know it sounds stupid, but I was going back to see the differences, right? Just because we doing a show too. The
adaptation is very accurate. It's incredibly well done, and this is what happens when you have the game creators involved, as well as like the people who worked on that great show Chernobyl, right? And they come together, and because Naughty Dog has just been the masters of making like cinematic gaming experiences, right? And it's such a good show. And who doesn't love Pedro Pascal? He's just such a likable dude. I remember seeing him at Comic-Con, a few years ago at a party, and he was having a few drinks and just loving the attention like he was getting from playing the Viper.
The Viper.
Yeah.
I was telling Addict about him. Yeah, he was the Viper in Game of Thrones.
Oberyn Martell.
Yeah.
He was also in Law and Order at one point, or like the dude's been acting for decades.
For a long time. He was actually on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, when Buffy first went to college.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hispanic novellas.
Yeah, he was
Narcos.
He was in love with Narcos.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Nah, no doubt.
He did such a great job.
Don't get me going on Buffy though.
So I was going back and forth with that, just saying, if anybody's on the fence with getting the PlayStation version of Part 1, get off the fence and just go get it. It's such a technological achievement.
Yes.
It's using the same type of techniques that they use for Part 2, The Last of Us 2, and I think Last of Us 2 for me is probably like one of my all-time favorite games. So, really, if you're on the fence, just go do it. And I picked it up.
Don't you love though? As much as good as the TV show is, there's the moments where they're kind of emulating the game a little bit. Where it's like, I'm gonna push this thing over here so you can climb through that.
Yeah.
Are you doing a loading screen moment?
I'm like waiting for like a QuickTime event to pop up. Like it's just a show. Like,
Nope.
No. So
that's it for me. That's
no doubt. Of course, we have the game leader himself, the Shinobi, LordCognito, spread that realness in the realm of the IOP. Not telling you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. For me, it's been Destiny Season of the Savage. Just finished that. Shout out to Bungie, one of the best ending transitions to the new season of Lightfall. Kind of hit you in the feels with what's about to happen. They kind of have a little Infinity War moment. You know what I'm saying? So salute to them. I've been rocking that. Midnight Sun. Shout out to the legendary Jake Solomon, FiraxisGames. I see y'all. I support it. I played the Deadpool DLC, just finished that, and I think Venom's dropping next week. So I've been doing that. And other than
Wasn't that a part of the whole package when you got the season pass or something like that?
Yeah. So they dropping characters, and they at least have like story missions.
So
stuff
how
like
do you
that.
go get them out? Because I paid for this thing.
Yeah, it's convoluted. You got to go to, once you go into the Microsoft store, you got to make sure that the add-on is downloaded, and then sometimes it doesn't install automatic. I just say, I was like, bro, I bought Deadpool. Where's my Deadpool, fam?
They need to sacrifice 5 virgins.
Facts. Can we
be honest? I mean, that's the state of the industry right now, where it's like everything is piecemeal, everything is seasons. I'm old enough to remember when it was DLC or it was just add-on packs, and now it's like season 4. I'm like, okay, it's like when apps, like programs became apps. It's like it's all the same stuff. It's just a matter of how they monetize it, because everything is a service now.
Well, we was fighting against it, but we was fighting against nothing because the tide just overtook us.
So that's pretty much it. So if you want to set the rules of engagement super chat before we get started, man?
Yeah, guys. So we have Cliff for a limited amount of time, so we want to maximize that time as much as possible. So I will read all super chats afterwards. There are a couple that are directed right at Cliff. Do you want me to just read those? But that's unfair.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because they could be like, "Yo, I paid money."
I mean, I've been called names on the internet since 1990s.
It's up to you, Saul. Depending.
We will not be doing that here today.
It's up to you, Saul, how you want to handle. I'll leave it.
All right. I mean, okay. Let me see.
Just read the ones that are directed towards.
We
actually have a pretty. What's what I'm looking for? Reasonable chat, Cliff.
Yeah.
Come back and fix Gears of War, Cliff. You're the magic bullet to fix Gears of War.
You know, that's coming. It's gonna be bad.
So first, let me read Hardgate Cindy. Shout out to Hardgate Cindy. $10 super chat. Salute to the Lords and welcome to the realm, the legend CliffyB. And he put in a bunch of codes for the realm. Thank you once again, Hardgate. He got Bulletstorm in there. He's got Gears Ultimate Edition. He's got Hogwarts Deluxe. So shout out to you. Appreciate you, brother.
No doubt.
I snatched up that Hogwarts. So
come on, man.
It looks really solid.
Yeah. Then we have Free R. Kelly.
Oh, they let him out.
They let him out.
Too soon.
No, Cliff. We've been doing this for quite some time.
This is years of Free R. Kelly.
Yes.
What Kel said.
Cliff, did you guys ever anticipate the shotgun in Gears would determine the way the game was played in multiplayer?
No, we never anticipated that, because I mean, it's literally on the box that it's the Lancer. Like it's a chainsaw gun game. It's a chainsaw gun game, and then when you give players the ability to explode people in a second, they're going to take that ability.
Yeah.
And so it wound up becoming a shotgun game, and we fought that for years. Until by the time Gears 3 came around, Lee Perry, who's my co-designer on it, he's like, let's do a sawed-off shotgun. and you can just make like 5 people explode at once. And I'm like, ship it. That sounds great. I mean, that's proof of like, you know, at some point you have to give the people what they want.
Yeah.
Right. You can fight it all you want, but then, you know, it's kind of like when you go see a band, you know, like you go see like, showing my age, going to see like Def Leppard, and like, you know, you want to hear the old school songs, you know, you want to hear Pour Some Sugar on Me. You don't want to hear the new stuff, right?
Classics.
So exactly. So you just, you know, gotta listen to the audience and the wisdom of the crowd, as they say.
Respect.
Exactly.
So I'll get both of you.
Two more. We got Masoquista, $5 super chat. CliffyB is Xbox's David Jaffe. Welcome to the round.
No doubt. Salute.
Yeah.
And then we have where the heck was this one? Cliffy and Gears define. This is Simon Brandy with the £5 super chat. Cliffy and Gears define the 360 era for me. There's no showman in gaming anymore, and nobody like Cliff. Phil should tempt him back.
Oh, we'll get into it.
Well, he is working.
Phil and I are amicable. You know, he still slides into my DMs once in a while.
Ooh, and Dominus pulls through. Let's go.
That's why he's Aurelius.
The thing is the gaming companies and the powers that be don't want there to be any video game rock stars anymore, because in like, you know, the last remaining one is Kojima.
Yeah. You're correct.
And so, like, you know, I enjoyed stepping out of the spotlight for quite some time because it gets nasty out there. And is it just me, or is it feels like gaming has gotten like exponentially more toxic the last like 15 years?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, We'll definitely
Well,
ask you details about that and how you feel about it.
People losing the fun.
You can say whatever you want to me. You say something about my family or my wife, and I'm coming for you. You know,
of course,
no doubt.
But game, I mean, it comes from passion, right? Like, you know, they say the crap because they care.
True, but I just feel like social media, we ain't gonna get into it, but social media allow people to say stuff that they wouldn't say to nobody face.
I got a question.
All right, let's go.
For Clifford. And the only reason why I call him Clifford is because of the book. Because I was ignorant coming in going call him CliffyB. No, it's Clifford. What is this Android versus iPhone thing?
Oh, come on.
Yes, people are
No,
asking.
I don't know what it is, and I'm very ignorant to it.
There's this thing with my in-laws, right? My Louisiana in-laws, they all have iPhones, right?
Right.
And except for my brother-in-law, he's an engineer and he has an Android, right? And so we have that group text thing, right?
Yes. Right.
And there's the green bubble and there's the blue
the
bubble.
blue bubble.
And it's like I've seen images from dating apps where women are like, if you have an Android, I won't date you.
Oh,
wow.
I've seen that too.
Similar
That's
to,
a serious thing.
Have you seen the height thing too? Where it's like, if you're not at least 5'11", I won't date you.
Yeah.
What
is going on out there? And so like, you know, same thing. You know, I'm transitioning to my friend who's single, right? He's a handsome dude. He's tall, and he's on like Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge, right? And I'm looking all of it. I'm like, oh, it is horrible out there.
Terrible.
Yeah, so I just that's
I get what it's about. I had no idea because somebody when I put up the promo, it was like, please ask him about the Android versus iPhone thing, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm ignorant.
I think I have like an S8 or I don't know, like
see, I'm with you. I got an Android.
My wife's like, you need to upgrade your phone. I'm like, does it work?
Oh, he one of those.
Well, I mean, having worked in games as long as I did, I'm like, do not add any variables here. Like, all you're doing is adding room for error. I mean, that's
exactly. There you go.
That's the producer in my head. It's like, okay, we can just add this one more feature 3 weeks before.
Too much feature creep, right? Exactly.
Foundationally, we work. No doubt.
My old producer Rod Ferguson, who shipped so many Gears games. He's one of the best producers I've ever worked with. He used to say, "Don't shake the Jello." You know, like it's the butterfly effect. You know, that terrible Ashton Kutcher movie. You know, like one thing can change a million things in software development, which is why I'm like, the same thing is like when it comes to like the internet in our house. I'm like, is it working? Don't move.
Yeah, like don't mess with. We good right now. Leave it. I'll be like that with Addict with the shows. And I'm like, yo, we go. We'll do the other stuff later.
Well, that's the thing about solid state electronics. Like, you know, we have like multiple Alexas in our house, and it'll just crash. I'm like, you've just been sitting there listening. You had one stinking job, and then I have to reboot this thing too. Like, you know, everything requires a reboot. Like this very PC I'm on with you It's our VR PC. This used to be our fancy little dining room, right? And we're like, we're never going to use that in the crappy China behind us. So let's just make it VR space. And then this is my PC for, podcasts and interviews because, my wife started to do the streaming thing. Yes. Our office is all over there. So we wanted to kind of be the other space. I got the little, the ring light too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Streaming Cliffy. All right.
48 years old and still getting acne. So
it keeps us young, Cliff. I don't mind a pimple here and there. I'm good.
As long as you don't get one in your junk. I don't know what that's like.
Right. No. It goes down to Florida.
Do you guys follow Florida Man on Twitter?
I do not.
No.
It's basically like story after story of like Florida man caught
something
fornicating with neighbor's chihuahua. One after another. I swear to God, it's the best Twitter account besides mine.
Yeah, it's worse than the Bronx.
And on that note, so I think we're gonna close off the super chat because they're gonna keep going.
Yeah, they're gonna keep going. So we'll close them off. We'll read the rest afterwards. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
No doubt. So that we got into what the Lords have been playing, all that good stuff. We got to focus on Lord Clifford, his video game system history, his journey into game development at Epic Games, and of course creating the iconic Unreal and Gears of War franchises, and then leading to this powerful personal memoir, Control Freak. So Lord Cliffy, let's start from the very beginning. What was kind of the first video game systems you had? What got you into gaming?
It was the Atari 2600. We all had that one neighbor kid that was spoiled and they got all the toys before everyone else.
King was that for me. I would just go over there to freeload and secondhand. Continue.
Yep. And my old art director from Epic, he actually recently retired from Epic. He basically told me when he had kids, he made the coolest house possible with all the good toys, so he would know what the kids were up to. So they're not at the cool parents' house drinking beer in the basement when they're 12 years old, right?
Yeah.
And so this friend of mine, he had the Atari 2600, and I must have been 6 or 7 years old. And I went over there and I played Space Invaders. And just being able to move an image on the screen to me just resonated with me. And I had other things I wanted to do for a while. I wanted to do the acting thing for a while. I wanted to be a herpetologist because I like reptiles and amphibians and things like that. But video games just spoke to me. And once I realized that not only could I move things on the screen, I could be the one who's making the things on the screen. That was hook, line, and sinker, just nonstop. And then I got the adventure construction kit on my Atari. No, not my Atari. It was on my Apple IIc. And then I made little adventure games with that. And then eventually I learned how to do basic and visual basic, and just kicked and screamed and clawed my way into the business. And
you learned that on your own?
Yeah, self-taught. I went to Cal Poly Pomona for about 6 months, and then I dropped out because I honestly think college is a huge racket. My wife and I are at one of our favorite pubs last night, and there was March Madness going on, and some guy was like, "Who are you rooting for?" And I'm like, "No, college is a racket." Are those kids getting paid yet? By the way,
soon. Some of them are. Yeah, it's happening. It's happening.
Can they even put their names in their uniforms yet? Come on, man. But they're getting an education at Duke. Yeah,
for free. Yeah, right.
Exactly. So, but I just games spoke to me. And the thing about working in video games for 25 years is it actually jaded me a fair amount to the point where, when you know how to make video games, all you see is the dollar signs on the screen. As incredible as The Last of Us and Uncharted, those kinds of games, God of War, Sony Santa Monica and all that, Naughty Dog, those games cost a ton of money to make and a ton of man hours. And for me, that's why I love just simple little games like Shovel Knight. I love the retro stuff these days. Yeah. I'm not actually playing the new Hogwarts Legacy, but I'm watching my wife play it on stream, and there's times where it looks amazing and there's times where it doesn't look so amazing. And that's the thing is when you make these games with 8 million developers in 16 studios, it's the quality can be right here or it can kind of go here. And that's a part of my brain that I'm just happy to kind of disengage with for a while. But
so you want to take it back to how Jazz Jackrabbit is.
That's the thing is I actually wanted to make a spiritual sequel to Jazz. Did you guys PlayStation 1? Did you guys ever play the game Jumping Flash?
Yes, of course. Oh, that game's amazing. Yes.
Right? That was the first game that I ever played that actually solved first-person platforming.
First person,
yes.
Yep.
Because 9 times out of 10, if you're in a first-person game and you're doing platforming, it's terrible.
Right.
So you can't judge where you're
judge
going.
The distance.
Exactly, because when you're in third person, you have the shadow of the character. You can tell where you're going to land and things like that.
Right.
But to do something like that in first person and to do it properly, I think would be incredibly compelling. Just like Duke Nukem started as a 2D platform game that eventually became a first person shooter, right? And then kind of went off into a weird direction, but that's Duke.
Yeah,
So,
no, I agree.
Okay, so you went from Atari 2600, you went to the Apple. What was it? Any other console? Well,
there was one
console.
Oh, then it was Nintendo, obviously.
Here we go. Let's go.
So I had another neighbor on the street, and he was a couple of years younger than I, but he got the Nintendo Entertainment System. He had Rob, remember the robotic?
We use it.
Gyromite.
He had the Zapper before they changed it and made it like orange or something.
Yeah.
And I remember like just when Mario first booted up and just that music kicked in, just the first time I jumped and hit that invisible block, I was hooked. And it was just such a phenomenal experience. Then eventually I cheated on Nintendo.
Let's talk about this fling. Let's talk about the fling.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
I wound up getting a Sega Genesis.
That's right.
Oh,
that's right.
Why does he have to have a drink?
Don't be ashamed.
Have a drink.
Say you cheated with your chest.
Time out. Okay, so the Nintendo part, you didn't own one per se.
Yeah. Not initially. Eventually, I wound up getting one. Yeah. So my dad was an engineer for Polaroid outside of Boston, and he was actually we were raised upper middle class, and my dad, I'm the youngest of 5 boys, so my dad was able to buy us some Transformers and buy us our first computer and all these games and things like that. But yeah, for me, just cracking the code of how I can actually get into this industry, how I can make my own stuff, and then shareware came around when I eventually wound up with an IBM 386SX PC.
Taking it back.
And then
that's big talk.
Companies, and then a little game like Wolfenstein came along, and that was after Commander Keen, and I was just like, I didn't like the world in which I lived, so I wanted to make my own virtual world, essentially.
Right, because at this time, okay, so me reading the book, and I know we're going to get into the book later, but I was growing up being bullied too at certain points because I was too tall for my age, right? So I'm 11 years old, but I got 15, 16-year-old, grown kids bothering me. Yeah.
And now that's an asset. Like, you want to be tall.
Yeah, right? But so it was I was a Nintendo nerd at this point in time. And I know about the, you getting off the school bus and running.
Bus story, it hit me hard.
Bus thing, it hit me hard. Yeah. My question is, you're playing in the Nintendo Championships because I know
eventually because I was like, we can't let him gloss over that.
I'm not going to let him get away from
glossed
this
over like
right
he
now,
was like one of the nicest.
He was my champion.
Let's go.
Right. And okay, so that's why I was hearing that you got the Nintendo. How much man hours did you play? Because you was really, really, really good. Like ungodly good.
Yeah, that Nintendo power.
Could you talk about that whole experience in there and getting to the championships and that? I was a rock star from there.
I have no idea how I found the time back in the day.
Yeah,
because it's like when I think about when I was a teenager, I was working at McDonald's. I was playing video games like a demon. I was in the drama club. I was the lead in multiple plays and still managed to get 8 hours of sleep a night. I don't know how that got. Well, because I wasn't dating. That's for sure. But yeah, there's just something about the interactive experience that just always has spoken to me. And I literally saw games as a conquest. The legend of the high score and how to see my name in Nintendo Power magazine.
That was crazy.
And it was just framed upstairs in my house. And then it was it wasn't enough to play the games and beat them. I had to understand the systems. I had to figure out how to make my first games were 2D adventure games, the point and click style ones. And then I did Jazz Jackrabbit and Jazz Jackrabbit 2. I still have an old sticker here for that. I don't know why.
Oh, bro, that's fire.
And then it was like, okay, now we're going to learn 3D. I'm going to learn the Unreal editor. We're going to make my own levels for, Unreal and then Unreal Tournament. And then everything beyond that. And then, it wasn't just a matter of that. It was like, if my yearbook literally says, good luck with the video game or acting thing. And somehow I figured out a way to do both by being the spokesman for Epic for many, many years, where I worked in the games. I made my fair share of what I could do, but it wasn't just enough of that. I had to actually go and do 8 million interviews and do press tours and things like that. I had to be the hype man, the spokesman for the company. And it was a lot of freaking work. And, you know, it's funny, when I first started dating Lauren, God, we've been together for over 13 years. And she'd sit there during these press junkets and just hear, you know, they'd ask me the same 5 questions over and over again. Like, how many weapons are in the new game? And I just eventually just get bored and be like, there are no new weapons. Like, really? And it was always those like lost in translation moments when I would be interviewed by like a Japanese journalist where they'd ask me a question, you know, like, what's the theme of the game? And I'd say something for like 30 seconds and they'd turn to the journalist, the translator, and they'd be like, blah. And I'm like,
I said a lot more.
Or they'd be like, how many guns are there? And I'm like, 12. And then they turn and then the translator would talk for like 40 seconds. I'm like,
I just
trying to see the equivalency.
Yeah, it's not balancing out here.
Again, I think the era of the Rockstar game designer is kind of dying, and it's kind of sad, you know, because I think, you know, the people, the powers that be that have the money and own and control these studios, they don't want there to be one person seen as it, because it very much is a team effort. Yeah. You know, so whenever you see an update for Valorant or Apex Legends or Fortnite, it's signed by the team.
Right.
You know, Donald Mustard is the main creative behind Fortnite, but not a lot of people know that.
Right.
And he was the one, you know, responsible for Infinity Blade, for Shadow Complex. And he's a creative genius, but he's also incredibly charismatic, the kind of guy that can stand in front of a room and sell you on an idea. And that
but I thought you was epic. Like it was a time where I just only thought like you were that right there.
I mean, that was my plan the entire time.
The plan was well executed because I saw the Lamborghini.
Here we go.
You know what? Because
the Lambo pulling up. You feel it?
No, because all right. So he goes from this Apex, right? He transforms himself from this Apex, and then when he transforms himself into CliffyB, I'm like, this guy, he's God right now, right? He kicks in the door because this is at the precipice where video games are starting to become cool. He made it cool.
Facts.
Right? You kicked in the door with this crazy game. And I know we're gonna like probably gloss over the gaming history and you know you trained this Sega and stuff. But you kicked in the door. You're at the pinnacle. Let's say financially, you're not like the top apex predator, but you are seen as the apex predator. How is that feeling to you? Like from that moment to being, you were the face of cool.
It went to my head, honestly. You know, with between the earrings and the cars and you know, the thing is you know, like the dating and whatnot. Like, I've always loved being a big fish in a small pond in our little town of Raleigh, North Carolina. And, you know, I was married a while back. This is all in the book. And then, you know, I had a really crazy affair, and then that led to me getting a divorce and losing all of my Unreal money. Then I was, you know, living in our little downtown Raleigh, which is like our little party district. And it was just way too easy to just date anyone I could. And, you know, to be like, that's the guy that made that Gods of War crap game. And he drives the Lamborghini, and I'm like, actually, it's two of them, but yeah.
This is my Tuesday car.
This is the one I use.
They was pocket watching. Cliffy was pocket watching.
But that's how I knew that one of the many moments when I knew Lauren was my forever person, where I took her to my white Lamborghini, and she goes, that's cute. What's that? And she didn't know what it was, you know, because she wasn't a gold digger at all, you know. She only knew who pro gamers were. She didn't know who any of the game developers were. That's actually the transition slightly. The world in which we live now, it's like we're in a world of Twitch streamers, YouTubers, and OnlyFans people. And they need to stop firing women who are on OnlyFans from their regular jobs, because if they were paying them enough in their regular jobs, they wouldn't have to do OnlyFans.
They wouldn't have to do OnlyFans, right? Tell the truth, shame the devil.
Don't sex shame these women. They're doing their thing.
Not at all.
But I'm just honestly, when it comes to the car thing, I respect cars. I like them, but I'm totally over it. I mean, you get to the point in your life when you hit over 30 or 40 where you want assets that appreciate and don't appreciate, right?
Yeah.
Like, very, very few cars, you know, appreciate and value. And some people get like the car bug. You know, I have some friends of mine that I worked with back in the day that have a bazillion of these kind of supercars and all that. And I'm like, you know, can I just get some land?
I feel that. Yeah, right. I feel that. I want to back up just for a second. And with Unreal and Epic, and I would probably want to set Solve up there, because like part of the way I've visualized you coming in the game was like the young, upstart. I'm coming for the top dudes, like, you know, Carmack Romero, you know what I'm saying, and the Unreal and the Quake energy. Like, was your mindset kind of like, yo, that's the enemy in a sense, and I'm coming for them kind of energy?
It all comes back to Ice-T, honestly. I had nothing and I wanted it. You had everything and you flaunted it, right? And that was the thing is, you know, seeing the, you know, the Wired articles about, you know, Carmack and Romero from id and how they had, you know, these crazy cars and mansions and things like that. And I was like, you know, I looked up to them, but I wanted to dethrone them. And the kicker was, you know, like I was just listening to, you know, so much West Coast hip hop at that time, you know, and just for some reason, like Ice-T's music just resonated with me. And then years later, when I was like able to like cast him in Gears 3.
That's full circle for you. That's full circle, bro.
Well, that was the story that I love to share in the book is, you know, we were at E3, you know, and Lauren and I are hanging out with Ice and Coco. And Coco shows up in her very sheer outfit. And she was super sweet. She smelled like Sunless Tanner. And her little strap falls down and boom, big fleshy avalanche falls out.
Hello, surprise.
What was Ice's face?
Ice was just working the room, right? but Lauren looks over and she's like, Coco,
the figure.
And Coco's like, happens all the time, sweetie. And she caught it before, like everyone was taking photos, everything like that. But the kicker was I put that story in the book and I had to get Ice-T's approval for the story. So I email him at his email and I hear, you know, he's probably on the set of Law and Order, you know, doing Season 4000 or whatever with, you know, Dick executive producer Dick Wolf presents. It's the most aggressive name ever.
Yes, bad aggressive.
Law and Order 2048.
Exactly. But I hear back like within like 5 minutes and I hear absolutely.
With the voice,
totally
that's my Ice-T voice.
That's Ice. Nah, salute, bro. No, but you were saying so like that.
But the kicker was he was playing all of my games while he was doing his, you know, his rap career, body count, and his acting career, like while I was listening to his music. So it was very like meta. And then, you know, the old adage they say, never meet your heroes. And I'm like, no, like most of the heroes and celebs that I've met have actually been really cool.
Right.
You know, as long as you're somebody who does something interesting or creative at all.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing is like, you know, just the fact that, you know, I can just like text and be like, yo, Ice, what's going on? I'm just like, what? Okay, that's crazy.
That's fire.
And that's actually I became friends with Karen Gillan from Guardians of the Galaxy, and she has some app that she's pitching and wants to hear my feedback on. I'm like, okay, Nebula.
You even did that with the grade with those people. Now that's dope. Oh, so I'll set you up because I got more questions, but I want to be fair to Solomon Addict.
Don't maybe go down the Game of Thrones rabbit.
I know we'll be there forever. So
I think for me, it's just when you really think about your career, Cliff, like everything that we consider to be the norm, whether like the modern gaming landscape or just in general tech-wise, it was all happening around what you guys were doing. Like we grew up in we're very lucky that all of this sort of modern tech was starting to come into its own when we're coming up. Like, how did you feel with all this stuff going on around? I know you mentioned the book, like, you know, big world events happening at the same time as
I'll never forget the first time my producer for Jazz Jackrabbit showed me the Unreal Editor. And he says, this is going to be big. And I, you know, at the time I was using the Jazz Jackrabbit editor, you know, to make Jazz and then Jazz 2. But then it was like, okay, this 3D space, maybe I can learn this because I tried 3D Studio Max and I was not very good at it. I didn't weld my vertices enough. But then, you know, one of the keys to what Tim Sweeney understood was making these tools easy for creatives, so that you could, you know, facilitate the vision. It's, you know, a better paintbrush, right? And then make it, because there's so many friction points. There's so much going on with game development that if you can make it easy for your average person who has an idea and has a vision, and there's a person that I'm slowly working on a movie project with, and he has a saying where he says, and it's a pretty common saying where it says, sometimes you just will things into existence.
Right.
And, you know, that's the thing is like, you know, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to write a book and, you know, I'm working on a comic book as well. And, you know, I'm going to produce stuff on Broadway and then, you know, the restaurants. And when you realize, you know, this is one of those moments, you know, we were talking earlier about Manhattan and New York. And it's, you know, I remember thinking New York was such a big, scary place. And then years later, learning to love it and realizing it's all just systems interacting. That's the entire world. Everything is systems. And if you can figure out those systems, you can, like learn the Matrix, because I firmly believe we're in the Matrix, but that's another conversation.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's real talk, especially, you know, how the Unreal Engine kind of shaped things and from the standpoint of then licensing it out, getting, you know, a fee and the other people utilizing this kind of standard. I wanted to, I'm sorry,
just real quick. When you look at Epic now, right, is it a little bit disappointing to you that they kind of don't make games anymore? They just, it kind of feels like it's a Fortnite and Unreal machine.
I mean, okay.
Technically,
I'm still under NDA.
Okay.
So never mind.
But the thing is, you know, they you know, they have to go where the money is, you know, and Fortnite's been making money hand over fist for years now at this point, right? And there was a time period where, you know, I'd like go to the state fair or I'd go to the mall and I just see Fortnite stuff everywhere. And it just it was really frustrating for a while because, you know, Epic was very good to me. You know, they took care of me fiscally, but it's not like certain other industries where if you leave, you get residuals off things. Like I don't see a dime on Fortnite, even though I worked on it in like the very earliest phases. And that's, you know, business is business. It is what it is. But I think Epic to some extent has kind of become like Valve.
That's that's the comparison that I make, where it's like they have so much money, you would think you could make whatever you want, but you decide kind of not to.
And I mean, that's the thing is like, you know, if I was still in charge over there of creatively, I would make sure that there are multiple projects being incubated.
Right.
Because, you know, yes, Fortnite, they've done a fantastic job with keeping it as a live service. They have updates after updates and seasons and battle passes and all that stuff, right? But the thing is it always going to be evergreen? Is it always going to be cool?
Yeah.
Right. And so if I was a creative working in that environment, you know, there's the cash cow of that, but just take 10 people, 10 of your best game developers and just put them in a room. I mean, that's what birthed Fortnite in the first place, was essentially, you know, the remnants of a game jam.
Right.
And, you know, it's the same thing with Valve, you know, like you never know where the next big thing's going to come from. So, you know, for me creatively, if I were to make another game, you know, I'd love to just give me a team of, you know, 5 or 6 people and let's just prototype stuff. And let's just find the fun. Let's feel it out. You're panning for gold at that point.
Okay, so that ability to think outside of just the one cache, did that come from Boss Key's thinking that if you would have hit with one game at Boss Key and it would have continued to make, you know, whatever bread? Let's say, you know, Boss Key would have made Fortnite, right? Let's say you get in that cash cow. Would you still have this same thought process?
I would hope so. I mean, like you want to get to that point in life where you don't have to worry about your bills.
Right.
You know, and if you get to the point where you're a billionaire, I believe that you have it on your conscience to do some really good in the world and actually like change things, you know, like as opposed to just buying Twitter and being an asshole. So.
Shout out to Elon.
I used to
where are my birthday balloons?
I used to respect the hell out of that guy, and now I just think he's terrible. But anyway, it's one of those things that you know, the whole Boss Key thing. Like, I wanted my own game studio. I wanted to be the one in charge.
Right.
One of the many mistakes I made with that studio was only getting Lawbreakers out the door initially. Like that game took us like nearly 3 years to make, and like what I should have done was started with a team of like 10 to 20 people and made just a small little thing and put it out there. You know, like figure out how to work together, as opposed to, you know, the problem is I hired so many talented AAA developers that they were stuck in that AAA developer, you know, mindset that we couldn't make something like Minecraft, you know, which you look at Minecraft, like I remember like my office mate Alan back in the day at Epic, he was showing me Minecraft and I'm looking at this like, this looks like shit. This looks like doo-doo. The thing is it was engaging. And then if you look at like, also by the way, you look at traditionally when a studio or an IP or a game like that gets acquired by a mega publisher like an EA or a Microsoft, they usually drive it into the ground. Microsoft has done a tremendous job of maintaining Minecraft as a cultural phenomenon, because that game, like you could just take any 8-year-old and put them on it and they will figure it out and they will learn it. right? And it's just still to this day utterly compelling. Kind of like Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike, in my opinion, is still the best first-person shooter ever.
It's ridiculous. Still around to this day. Cog, I apologize. Can I ask one more?
No, please. I won't get to the magic ball, but
there's something that he mentioned specifically about Boss Key and Lawbreakers.
Yes.
In the book, you talk about how before you went out on this endeavor, you went to Rod. And Rod said, I'd love to come on with you, but it's going to be a me and you thing. And at that moment, you were like, no, I want it to be, it's a me thing. Like I want to be straight up in charge. If you guys have been able to work that out and sort of work in collaboration, knowing how Rod is, the closer and somebody who can kind of keep focus at a game studio, do you think things would have been different at Boss Key?
Absolutely. I still, again, like I said earlier, I think Rod is hands down, if not one of the best producers in the video game industry. And he's a hardcore workaholic, and he somehow makes the balance work. I don't know how he does it, but Rod always kept me honest. Rod would, like people act like I was just the guy on Gears. No, it was the combination. Myself working with Rod Ferguson, working with Chris Perna, working with Lee Perry, working with Ray Davis. All these other developers, we were like the Beatles. And you have to have that kind of group like synergy. But the thing about bands is bands can't always last forever.
True.
Eventually Yoko shows up. Okay.
Throws a wrench into everything.
That's a good one.
Yeah. No, I mean the thing is, deep down, a part of me misses making games. And the thing is, I'm still doing things creatively. You'll see some news in the next few months of some stuff I'm working on. Cool. One of the biggest highs for me as a creative is typing up a description. Okay, it's a world that's an alien planet, blah, 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 and then you set it to a concept artist, and then a few days later you get like a sketch of it. And then, I sit there and I turn to my phone, I show Lauren, I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly what I was thinking, like
that's the beauty of gaming, brother.
Right there. But then when you make something that is such an impact on people that they'll actually get tattoos in their body of it.
Yeah. That's crazy. Speaking of which, I hate to interrupt. We got to transition because I'm dying. I'm chomping at the bit, and Saul's keeping me. And you talking it now. No, Cliffy's talking what I want to get to, and I hate to interrupt him too because he's talking about the tattoos. He's talking about those moments in gaming. We've got to talk about your magic moment, brother. We've got to talk about you, this young kid, the earrings, the hair, stepping on that stage in Hollywood. This is Microsoft's big IP, lot of pressure, and then we're talking about Halo at the time gets delayed for the 360, so it wasn't necessarily ready. There's a lot of pressure on Gears coming in, this big IP from Epic. So I want you to paint that picture. Give me the energy of the studio coming in. Like, did you know you had it? And then going on that stage where, let's be honest, everything could go wrong. You're from an era. It
usually does.
Yep, and you're from we're from the era, King, where it's really the vertical slice BS. Let's be real, right? Where dudes don't grab that controller and really do that thing. And Cliffy's up there with one of these, 360. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And he's out there. So paint the picture leading up to that moment and then the moment itself. How was that?
I was going through the separation and divorce with my first wife at the time. Wow. And I was living in a really cheap apartment, like basically a stone's throw from Epic. And everything was riding on my shoulders at that point. I had a new girlfriend at the time, and she was very supportive. And it was one of those things that if I had known how important that moment would be for the rest of my life, I might not have been able to have delivered. But I was young enough and cocky enough to been like, screw it, I can do this. And I credit that to my drama upbringing. I grew up with Saturday Night Live, always on. I watched Carson and then Leno with my parents every night before bed, and the ability to step on stage and to be a public figure, to put yourself out there, and you get that little nervous thing in your stomach, right? When you're about to do something you haven't done, and there's a phrase that I also like. It says, "Do one thing every day that scares you." Yep. And if you can take that knot in your belly and turn that into motivation, I think it's a beautiful thing. And that's why, I love doing like karaoke at least like once a week, very mediocre at it. But the thing was, that was a seminal moment to establish myself as a public figure, in the face of Epic for the foreseeable future. And the internet loves it and they hate it. They love to build you up and they love to tear you down, And so
I think that's only here in America, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, the entire internet loved it when Bosky folded, by the way.
No, we didn't. I didn't.
Well, but he's right. A lot the internet they
those
don't like cocky. Like devs is the only like genre you can't be the cocky devs for some reason.
Did you read that quote from me? Because I've said that in every other medium. If you can be a politician, you could be a musician, you could be whatever. You can be cocky, right?
Yep.
If you're a game dev, no, you can't.
Can't be.
You can't be confident. I don't know what it is.
I championed you for that. Like, because all right, we came from, and you remember it, where video games was shunned, right? And I guess that whatever animosity that you built up during that period of time of whatever vitriol you were getting as a child, because we all got it. If we had a Game Boy in our pocket,
the gamer wasn't cool back
video
then.
games, right? Because you were supposed to be outside doing bad things and playing with women, playing with girls. If you're not doing that and you're playing video games, something's wrong with you. And that's what we was looked at. You took us out of that. So for anybody to champion your demise off of Boss Key or something, a game or something that you didn't perform well, I think that's bad on them, because were our figurehead.
I really appreciate that. For me, it was like, when I was coming up and looking at, like, mentioning earlier, Carmack and Ramiro,
right?
We all remember the debacle of when he had his own studio with Ion Storm.
Katana.
Katana.
And we were like, I was like, I wanted to see that guy fail. And like in hindsight, years later, Ramiro and I, we became friends. And, I asked him one time, I was like, so what was the whole deal there? He's just like, I just wanted to make a cool place for people to make cool games. That's all he wanted to do, and years later, he's still doing his thing and he's still thriving. He's happily married to Brenda, who's also a video game legend. And it's so funny for me also to take my wife around to these video game events and introduce her to some of these video game legends I've known for decades. She actually worked at id Software. She worked with Carmack. Carmack would hand her like the iPhone version of Doom, be like, give me some feedback on that. I'm like, you worked with Carmack? Like, what? She didn't even know, but it's one of those things, like, it's the whole Schadenfreude, and I compare it to, it's like Britney Spears, right? Like, everyone loves Britney, right? And the thing is Britney, had that phase in about 2007 where she kind of maybe went a little bit. There was the conservatorship, and her Instagram is still kind of weird.
That was crazy.
The thing is she was born to be a performer. Right. And for me, like, that drama nerd in me, I need the stage. That's why, going back to the karaoke thing and going back to, I could, doing a keynote and things like that. Like, I love for it. It's like Lady Gaga says, I live for the applause.
So is that you microdosing weekly to get your fix of the crowd, of the adulation?
Well, the kicker is we do it. So there's a few spots in town that do karaoke, right?
Right.
Karaoke is such an art form. Like, I have a whole screenplay I want to write called Mic Droppers, about a guy who's a software engineer and his studio's failing and then eventually finds his way through karaoke. But we do it I co-own the Raleigh Beer Garden in town. And every Monday night at 8:00, we get a really, really good crowd. And I'm sitting here thinking, these people are all buying beer and buying pretzels to see me sing, And then again, you gotta read the crowd, because inevitably you have to go to Mr. Brightside every stinking time.
No doubt. I want to get Attic in, man, real quick. Attic, about Gears, or maybe just any questions specifically that we may have missed during this revisiting history.
I do have a question about Gears, modern Gears. Have you played the modern Gears? Because I know, like, I don't know. I remember Jaffe said, it took him a long time before he plunged and played, the modern God of Wars. Have you played the modern Gears? And if so, what's your input on the direction that the studios went with it?
I played 4 and I beat it and I enjoyed it. I played 5 for a bit, but I had issues. The controls felt weird to me. There's so much little stuff behind the scenes that goes into making a good shooter work on a console. You know, the whole idea of, you know, slowing the cursor as it moves over an enemy, how much the bullets auto aim onto foes and whatnot, and things like that. And it just felt kind of off. But the thing is they did that whole decision thing in Gears 5 where you figure out like who lives and who dies, and I think it was one of the dumbest things they could have ever done.
Canon wise, is that your concern?
I just, you know, like when Dom died, everyone felt it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and it was one of those things that, you know, like we were so criticized back in the day for the dialogue of Gears, and it's just some big stupid dude bro shooter. And once in a while, you know, I'm sitting there in the afternoon, maybe I'll have a mimosa and I'll go to YouTube and look up those videos, and every single comment is like tears. You know, I was playing this with my best friend, and then Dom died, and I just couldn't recover for like 4 days, and I'm like, yes.
That's what
That's exactly. You know what it is? People like to criticize things that come off as corny, but we're human beings. We love corny. Like we love corny.
Yeah,
we love all of that. The hero story, the arc, the sacrifice. We love all of that stuff.
And I will give, you know, Cliffy and the team y'all your credit in the sense that for me, what I really miss about Gears was more of like the horror aspect and being scared.
That was actually one of Phil Spencer's main notes when they acquired the IP that he wanted. He gave the marching orders for Rod was they left out, you know, kind of the horror. And the thing is this something happened also with the Dead Space franchise where, you know, Dead Space 1 and 2 were great, you know, survival horror games, and then they just doubled down on the action aspect. And all of this comes down to pacing, right? Like, you know, you can if you have those scary moments, you have to build up to it. I mean, you're talking to the guy who did the intro for the Scar and the first Unreal. You know, the lights go, and the door opens and things like that. And that's one of the things I learned. You know, even when I was, you know, on the road with Mark Rain back in the day, demoing the Unreal Engine. You know, you can feel when you start losing the room. You know, and that's one of my things. You know, next up, I think I want to actually try doing stand-up comedy and going to, you know, like open mic nights and seeing what I can pull off. And because that in itself is also an art form. You know, the art of the callback, the art, all of it, right?
We actually just had a comedian on last.
We just had a comedian. It's funny you said that. Shout out to Big Top.
We have almost 700 people watching.
With the legend.
Get the likes up,
man. We try and get a like. What rare animal we save when we hit the like?
Well, today we saving the platypus, the Dominican platypus.
Yeah, we saved the platypus.
Dominican platypus.
It's very specific.
Very specific. Every time you hit the like, that's what happens.
A lambent will be saved today.
Yeah.
A lambent will not get chainsawed today.
But going back to Gears was developed during one of the hardest periods of my adult life, right? You know, I've always been a late bloomer. You know, I was like 30 years old, and I was still emotionally 15 because if you recall in the book, you know, that was a very seminal year for me with a bunch of horrible things that happened to me. And so, you know, just a big case of arrested development. And that's the thing is, you know, like I remember getting a card for my wife one year and it says, "Don't grow up, it's a trap."
Kind of true.
You gotta stay young at heart. And you know, I don't want kids, but one of the things I've gleaned from people who have kids is you get to kind of relive your childhood through their eyes. You know, it's like looking at my brother who just has 2 wonderful children, and like for him to introduce his son and daughter to, you know, the world of Transformers, and, you know,
crazy, all in one.
And that's what I call a forever IP, by the way. Like once it transitions to a new generation, that's when it becomes the thing. And like, you know, we're gonna be hearing about Pokemon for the next 5,000 years.
Right.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on Michael Bay Transformers?
Oh God. Be careful, Cliff. Be careful.
I'm not allowed to curse in this podcast.
No, thank you.
Good answer.
Enough said.
Good answer. That's what I'm talking about.
To be fair, the Bumblebee movie was great.
No, yes, that was callbacks to G1 and sensibilities. So I respected it.
When your character designs look like a bunch of shaved metal pieces that have been glued together. I mean, that's one of the greatest things about Generation 1, especially of Transformers, is when you can kind of tell what the robot would turn into, right? Like, you know, and that's, you know, Optimus Prime, you know, this big barrel chest that was the truck and things like that. Because Transformers started off as Diaclone in Japan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Hasbro took it and they gave it an IP, the heroic Autobots and the evil Decepticons and Cybertron and everything like that. And as a generation of kids, we were just hooked. And so much of that was an influence, like that G.I. Joe, Thundercats.
Oh, let's go.
That was all my influence for everything that I've done in my entire life.
Preach,
so that's the thing is, you know, what I'm working on right now is a new world that has a dog that's a superhero. Because as far as I'm concerned, I've never seen a cool, tough dog superhero that's been depicted in pop culture.
Is that because I lost my best friend, Sir Benjamin Johnson. So when I was reading the book and you lost your dog, I'm like, oh man,
that's my Teddy shrine right there.
Yep. I have the ashes, I have the paw print, I have the picture, I have all that stuff upstairs. I have a painting of him. People don't understand, like that hits hard.
It really, honestly, the internet thought it was so freaking hilarious that like I started my studio and I'm this cocky celebrity game designer, and like, you know, I employed 80 of my friends for 3.5 years. I knew their spouses, I knew their children, I knew their pets. They brought their dogs to the office, right? And then within a similar time frame, I had to put down my Aussie of 13 years because he couldn't walk anymore, you know, and it just destroyed me. And then, you know, I know you're supposed to adopt, not shop. I know. But my wife found this Pomsky named Lady, and I fell in love immediately with her. And she's just such a beautiful, just aloof floof, and she's been my inspiration. And like that's the thing about creativity, as you all obviously know, is, you know, who's your muse? It could be an animal, it could be a location, it could be a person, right? And sometimes it comes out of sorrow. You know, Gears was birthed out of the fail of my first marriage, right?
Oh.
So that's you know, losing all of that Unreal money,
and
right?
then
and for the record, the ex-wife's on her third marriage. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, okay.
Wow. And Marcus is based loosely around your father.
A little bit, yeah, but also Anya eventually evolved into Lauren. And that's the thing is, you know, during crunch time. Oh, here's Lady. You guys want to see her? I can't get her from that end.
There we go. There we go.
She's like, it's too early.
We got
that one was already in the shot. She was down at the bottom.
So yeah, the whole thing is just during the, you know, because crunch time is still a thing in game development, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, and it sucks, but it's kind of the reality because gamers expect so much out of a game. You know, the feature set, the graphics, everything like that. And so, you know, my wife and we bought a place at the Carolina Shore. And that was my escape on the weekends during crunch time. And that's why Gears of War 3 ends with Marcus and Anya sitting on the beach. And, you know, the Azura, the idea of this pristine beach location that's been kept away from the proletariat workers and the poor people, you know, was very much an idea I wanted to make sure was in Gears 3. And so when, you know, Anya turns to Marcus and says, we have a tomorrow, I think that was one of the best narrative decisions they made, was to give Marcus and Anya a son, you know, and to continue the lineage, because Lord knows I don't freaking want one.
So I do.
Yeah, Attic.
Did you get any of these community questions?
No, I'm gonna get it. I got one more before we get. I got one or two more before we get to community. I did want to ask, during the 360 era of Gears, and I know you spoke very highly of Rod, right? And salute to the legend. I wanted to ask about Peter Moore in that era. Like, you know, how was it interacting with him during that era? You know, obviously 360s tried to come on the scene, establish itself. And then also, you know, were you part of the decision, because Gears was so vital for 360, were you part of that decision for like, the 512 RAM decision as far as what Gears could look like?
So the whole like you know, adding extra memory to the Xbox 360, that was Mark Rain and Tim Sweeney basically put their foot down.
Okay.
At the time, it was Shane Kim that was actually the one who was responsible for those decisions. But Peter Moore is an absolute gentleman and a scholar. He is an absolute, I can't say that word, but he's just a bad MF. Right? He's the kind of guy that can just, I don't know if it's the British accent or not.
That's that Liverpool. That's that Liverpool. That's a Souser.
There's a charm. There's a charm.
Yeah.
And it's like, the thing about having an accent like that is you can't tell if the person's intelligent or not. It's kind of like Charlize Theron on Arrested Development, where she turned out she was really dumb, but they just thought she was smart because she had an accent, right? But Peter's brilliant. He's pure charisma. And that's the thing about doing these press junkets, you know, these conferences. Like, so many people that they put on stage are terrible at it.
And he's a showman, bro.
Yeah, I mean, he's Hugh Jackman in The Greatest Showman, you know.
Yes.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you waited for, right?
Tattoo come up with
you see so many of these guys, women, whatever, on stage, right? And they do this thing like you tell, here's prompter 1, prompter 2, and they go, "It's great to be here. We're here with Xbox. We got some great games to show you," and you can just feel the collective like audience is like, "Okay, let's keep it going. You know, like cut to the exclusive. And again, that comes back to pacing. So much of life is systems and pacing. You know, like the thing about, you know, we were talking earlier about Marvel and DC and comic book movies. Like one of my favorite things to do is to go to YouTube and look up the videos from Endgame, right? And you know, when you know, Tony Stark says, you know, I am Iron Man. And then just, I'm getting chills even saying it right now. And I'm not even that huge of a Marvel fanboy, but like, you know, it's the same thing with musicals, right? Like when, you know, getting into Broadway and being a Broadway producer and, you know, talking to one of my producing partners, Kayla from TBD Productions. And she's like, well, you seem pretty good at what you're doing with this. And I'm like, you can't fake the goosebumps.
Yeah.
Right. And like when the music, it's that crescendo, it's the same thing with a good concert. It's the same thing with a good video game. It's the same thing with a good dining experience. The same thing with, you know, being in a good relationship, pacing and cadence. It's all of it. It's everything. It's the same thing with stand-up. You know, it's all systems. And I'm pretty much freaking all over the board these days, if you haven't figured it out.
You're micro dosing all around. This is what I'm noticing, because like you were at the apex. So that level of adulation is not going to be supplanted by something small like karaoke here, but you will still get those nods when you're about to do the song and you're still filling the room. I think you're still in that moment, that shining moment around all the things that you do from Broadway to the
Can you be my new therapist, please?
No, well, I mean, once you said that you went to therapy because your father died and stuff like that, I'm really reading the book. I'm really understanding you more, because before then I didn't, right? Before then, you were just the alpha and omega to me, right? You came from the bottom and you raised to the top. You were at this point with Nintendo, because it seems like I knew you, but I didn't know you. And the book Control Freak allows me to get to know the person, the humble person, the person that found that medium, right? Because you were here to me with the Lamborghini, and you were also here to me with the Super Mario stuff. Mario Brothers. I'm just saying, now you're at a space, but you're still crave that, you know, for me, boxing and fighting people and hearing the crowd outside the ring, you never walk away from that. You always feel that. And I'm seeing you get that little fuel from all the endeavors that you're doing now.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I think
that's really, honestly, really appreciated. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. I think what I got from the book was the fact that all the stuff that you mentioned, King, is back then it felt like Cliff, like you needed it.
Yeah.
In turn, because that's how you were kind of drowning the sorrows and the things that were going wrong in your life, and kind of just enveloping yourself in other things and sort of drowning that out and not addressing it. And now you have the hindsight of time and just distance from it. And wisdom. It's like now, and wisdom, exactly. And it's you kind of can process it and take everything that you need to from it and learn from it. And you're just is a place where you enjoy it and you know you can do it and you're good at it, but you don't need it anymore.
You want to get to the point where you feel like your life is an RPG and the world is finally open to you.
Yep.
You know, like
New Game Plus.
Exactly. I mean, without the weapon degradation of
not
the degradation.
Oh, brother. Let's get this guy off the show.
I mean, that's the funny thing about, like, somehow I've managed to amass this really interesting network of people, like, and just, you know, so basically, at San Diego Comic-Con for a few years, Justin Roiland from Rick and Morty, and again, that's a hot topic.
Totally different.
He's a good friend of mine, but we're not going to go there.
Absolutely.
And Alex Hirsch from Gravity Falls, we would throw what we would call the Big Dumb Yacht Party. And, you know, it wasn't cheap, but we basically would wind up, like, with the most random people there, like, you know, like the cast of Game of Thrones rolls up, and then, you know, like, you know,
nipple twisters,
like Kiki Wolfkill from 343, Alana Pierce, right? Like, and then, you know, like Riley Reid shows up at one point, and Weird Al Yankovic, and and Lin-Manuel Miranda shows up, and like I'm sitting
there
like,
that's the craziest group.
Wow, hell of a party.
Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos and stuff, and I was like, what? I'm getting drunk with all these people. What is going on right now? And Riley Reid's flashing her hoo-ha at everyone. I'm like, we've all seen it, Riley. You can put it away, okay?
I
can't. Every time I see her videos, I'm like,
yeah, I saw that.
That tattoo looked like it really hurt. That was the kicker about meeting her at that party, by the way, is like, she comes up and she's like, my name's so-and-so, but you might know me by my stage name, Riley Reed. And I shake her hand. And if you ever meet somebody who's involved in adult stuff, every filthy thing you've ever seen them do flashes right before your eye. And then Lauren turns to me and she goes, how do you know her? And I'm like, we'll get there.
We'll get it. We'll talk later.
Never mind.
We'll discuss that.
My thing is, I like knowing interesting people. Like, so, you know, doing the whole karaoke thing every Monday at our beer garden. There's this woman that rolled up named Jade, and she can sing like nobody's business. She does that whole bit in Phantom where it's like, right?
Oh, wow.
And the entire bar just stops and just watches her when she does it. And she's actually having a burlesque show. She's in downtown Raleigh tonight. So we like became friends through that. And like, I just love meeting interesting and cool people, you know, people who just do something cool. Like, you know, if you ever had a bar and you like run into somebody that was like a doctor or like an ER nurse or something like that, like they have some stories, you know?
Yeah.
Usually about people accidentally winding up with stuff in their butts.
Yo, Cliffy's on fire right now.
Million one odds, Doc. Million one odds.
Before we hamsters and things.
I know where you're going, son. We're gonna leave that alone. Time will solve. I know what he's doing.
One thing that life has taught me, you know, is that it's too freaking short.
Yeah,
you know,
life is short. Life is short.
My dad just boom. You know, and then what happened, it's my mother-in-law a couple of years ago was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, never smoked a day in her life. Wow. And this is during the era of COVID. And we had to go back and forth nonstop to the suburbs of Louisiana and basically watch her decline, and which really messed me up. And then just really realizing that, you know, I'm a huge fan of Patton Oswalt, the comedian.
Right.
And he did that whole bit. Remember, he lost his wife, Michelle McNamara.
Yeah.
And she was on some medications, had pneumonia. He woke up one day and she was just gone next to him. And, you know, he said the hardest day of his life wasn't the day when his wife died. It was the next day where he had to take his daughter to the playground and tell her what happened. And he said the words of wisdom that he got from his wife, Michelle, was about life. It's chaos. Be kind. Right. And, you know, when Lauren and I get into like little fights, it's like, life's too short, dude. You know, and that's the thing. It goes back to that Shia LaBeouf video, right? Where it's like, just do it. Just do it.
Just do it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Real talk, man. Very, very important words of wisdom there. I mean, still one more question before we open it out. I know we got to get the community in their bars. So I did want to ask one part about the transitioning from Epic and, you know, how it went down with Tim Sweeney and Mark. And then the second part of my last question was kind of like, you know, them selling to Gears to Microsoft. And you spoke highly of Phil in reference to that portion. So I wanted to get that first part about, you know, the what you call with Tim and Mark, and then moving on, and then obviously them selling Gears and your comments about Phil.
Yeah, well, the thing about Mark Rain is he's always been transparent that he loves the thrill of the chase and he loves making money. You know, I mean, we live in a capitalist society, and he's pretty unabashedly a capitalist. The thing was, you know, Tim and Mark were kind of father figures to me for years. You know, when I started working with them, I was a baby. And they took very, very good care of me. And then, you know, when the 10-cent investment hit Epic, and I realized I no longer had to argue with programmers anymore about my ideas. I remember sitting there with the programmer, and I'm like, I want so these creatures, I'm going to call them the Locust, and they're going to be from the underground of the planet. And the programmer's like, I don't buy it. I'm like, what don't you buy? He's like, how'd they get there? I'm like, that's part of the mystery. You know, get there. But then that's the thing is, you know, like I escaped, you know, out to my little beach spot, you know, those years ago, and Tim Sweeney actually drove down. And you know, he and I went for a walk on the beach. Dope. And it reminded me of that final scene from the movie Contact, where Jodie Foster, you know, first encounters the alien, and it winds up taking form of her father. And Tim was very much a father figure to me. And, you know, he's the kind of guy that, you know, he's got so much money now, and he's doing it to buy land in North Carolina for like land conservation. He's doing really, really great work in that department. But the thing is you know, I miss my time at Epic. I'll always appreciate it, but you know, I've moved on. But what was the second half of the question?
The second half was now they sell Gears to Microsoft.
Okay, so that was the thing. Is that's one of the things that miffed me a little bit, was the fact that, you know, Tim and Mark didn't let me know. You know, I actually got a phone call from Phil.
So Phil let you know.
Phil let you know. He's a stand-up dude. Every time I've met him and talked to him or whatever, he just comes across as a stand-up guy.
He really is, and that's the thing is, you know, I have this phrase I've been using lately. I have a lot of phrases. Establishing character shot. right? Like, and when someone shows you who they are, believe them. It just goes back to Peter Moore, it goes back to Phil Spencer. They're just stand-up dudes. Tim and Mark are as well, right? And there's the saying about Hollywood: it's not show friends, it's show business. But in many ways, it is show friends. There's a reason why Steven Spielberg has worked with Tom Hanks so much. Filming a TV show or a movie, it's a lot of work, and you're on set for many, many hours. So you want to be around people that are you kind of vibe with, right?
Right.
But in regards to the future, I'm working with Alex DeCampi. She did many graphic novels. She did one with Duncan Jones. Duncan Jones directed the World of Warcraft movie, Source Code and Moon. And we're working on that dog project together. And there's other things that are in the queue. But I love engaging with the creative, and that's the thing is like at Boss Key, when I started the studio, like I felt like I was in charge. I felt like I had creative control over the project, and then I just gave the team their ability to do what they felt was right. And we wound up with a really good game, but it wasn't in my heart of hearts the kind of game I originally really wanted to make. And so you live and learn. It's even Will Smith had Wild Wild West. Okay?
Right.
Yeah, that's true. And I think he turned down the Matrix. I think.
Thank God he did. Thank God he did.
Yeah.
It's funny.
We got to see Salma Hayek's butt though. So there's.
I actually sent King. It was a video of him talking about that. He's like, "Look, man, if you guys, if anything, you guys got to thank me." He's like, "Because if I would have accepted that role, they were gonna make Morpheus white." He's like, "We don't want that."
They would have messed up the movie, but thank God he did.
He was like, in the long term of things, I saved the Matrix.
Okay, so
as Spike Lee says, we always have to have the magical Negro, right?
Shout out to Spike. Spike Lee on that.
All right, so you get the phone call that that they are selling to Microsoft,
and I didn't get a dime off of it.
Wow.
So is it what's the thought process there? Because this is pretty much your collective baby.
So we can take the money and just put that over here, right?
Right. Put it to the side. Just go about the film.
I just don't mess it up was all I wanted, right?
Okay.
And I think the coalition has done a good job. I feel like there's a little bit of that je ne sais quoi, that little special sauce that's just kind of been missing the last couple of games. And I've been very, very obvious and open about the fact that I'd be happy to consult.
That's what I was about to say. If they brought you in with some consulting,
so is it the heart that you feel that is out of it? Because I felt and the first three had that horror, but also had heart, right? What do you think is missing?
I don't know. Honestly, maybe me.
Coalition, what's up?
The thing is this goes back to again, this is another person in Hollywood who's had a rough patch as of late. It's Joss Whedon, right?
Yes, right. Yes.
I'm a huge Buffy fan. I just,
right.
My wife looks just like Sarah Michelle Gellar because I had the biggest crush on her for so long, and then I'm like, oh, okay, this is all making sense. When I was talking to Joss at one Comic-Con one time, and he said to me, we'd learned, years into making Buffy, Buffy suffer, show good. And Gears of War was made in the wake of the George Bush administration's, stupid wars,
right.
And you had Iraq and Afghanistan and all that going on, and it was very much a criticism of the American military-industrial complex.
Right.
So many people didn't get. It's like the game opens with oil pumps. People hello. And they're like, no way. And Sarah is Aries spelled backwards. Oh my god. I'm like, but yeah, it was one of those things. I think game developers and creatives in general should make their work personal. Right. And that's the thing is, Gears was incredibly personal, for me coming out of the failed marriage and I made the Berserker the only female in the Locust.
Bro,
like that. What kind of messed up misogynistic thing?
Bro, I love that. The unstoppable feel and that was true fear in that room when you
when you was in that room. I'm like,
you had to get out of there. Where's what is it? The hammer of
hammer of dawn.
I think she killed me like 4 times.
I'm watching The Last of Us and enjoying it, and then the bloater comes out. I'm like, okay.
And one thing I want to give you a props before you continue is shout out to you for the krill or whoever was helped you with the krill, because I feel like that fear of going from the light to the dark.
Oh yeah,
like, yo, you gotta be safe, be careful. Like I just missed that little aspect of it. But continue.
I was inspired by Pitch Black, obviously, right?
Pitch Black.
No, continue.
But I mean, everything is a remix. That's the thing is, whenever you consume a movie, TV show, comic book, it's all grist for the creative mill. I read a book called Hitmakers that basically says, you know, the key to success is to have something that feels familiar but different.
Yes.
Right. And that's the thing, you know, the new season of Mandalorian is about to drop.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's a freaking Western.
Yeah.
You know, that's what Firefly was, you know, and that's the thing is, you know, Star Wars was Hidden Fortress kind of redone in sci-fi.
Yeah.
And, you know, Gears of War was, you know, that game Kill Switch meets Resident Evil 4. Right. So take something, you know, like the dog thing I'm working on. It's like, you know, I want to very much tap into that generation of kids that love Paw Patrol, but what happens when Paw Patrol is no longer cool, right? And they suddenly start turning 10, 11, 12, and they want something that's kind of PG-13 with a dog that can really mess stuff up, right? So hopefully that drops in July, but
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, well, you heard that here.
You heard that here. Can I ask one last selfish question before we move on?
We got to get a community, but after
this interview's done.
So, Cliff, I'm a Broadway boy as well. I love that stuff. It really, I just ever since I saw Phantom of the Opera, I was hooked.
That was my gateway drug too.
So tell me, like now, you know, Tony Award winning, you know, producer Hades style Cliff Blezenski. When they said they were shutting down, was there anything from you like, I'm Cliff Blezenski, I'm gonna try to save Phantom of the Opera? Was there any thoughts of that?
It all comes down to money. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, I think Phantom had like a 30-year run at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we're actually, when we're up there in April, we're actually gonna go see it right before
it closes.
And they know it. They gouge us in the ticket prices.
Yeah.
Oh.
But the thing about like, I love like live performances. Like the thing is like before COVID, you know, at the end of Hades Town, you know, there's a line where they say we raise our glasses and toast to Orpheus, you know, because maybe the story will turn out different next time. And they actually would cheers people in the front row, right? And there's, you know, the moment where, you know, Orpheus is, you know, following Eurydice out of Hades, hell, and, you know, he turns around, you know, like, and basically like, you know, she gets doomed to hell forever. Right. And, you know, a woman in the front row is just losing it. And Andre de Shields, the Broadway legend who played Hermes for a while, like took out his handkerchief and handed it to her. And these are those moments that you can't get with streaming or anything like that. And then, you know, for me to infiltrate that world and to be able to like go backstage and then also to see how things are capitalized and the machinations of how Broadway's made, it's not that different than video games, to be honest. But I have a tremendous amount of respect for anybody involved with that. It's just, you know, they have to be on for 2.5 hours, you know, 8 times a week.
Yeah.
And it's just the vibe of going to a show and getting hooked on one, you know, the Mean Girls musical, Dear Evan Hansen, like Come From Away, all of it. I believe it's a universal kind of thing to kind of unite people. But the thing is some people just can't get into musicals. They can't buy the fact that they can't suspend their disbelief, the fact that these people are just going to start singing. It's just go with it. You know?
Just go with it. Exactly. I was the first time I went, I sat in the very last row. It was a school trip. I didn't want to go because my 6th grade teacher had just messed up my mind because she forced opera on us. So I heard Phantom of the Opera. I'm just like, it's opera. I don't want to go. And the moment the chandelier comes on and I feel the heat from the chandelier and you hear, dun, 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 I was like, what is this? And that's it. I was hooked and I never looked back. And it is that thing that you mentioned about how it's just every single performance is its own little thing that is going to be lost to time because it's your personal memory. It's your thing.
I have such a soft spot not only for game developers but also for theater nerds. Yeah, you know, to infiltrate that world and become friends with them, like the types of people that perform in these shows, and they're so good at what they do, and like they're actually somewhat underpaid, but it's just such an amazing art form. And I just there's actually going to be a big announcement in a couple months of one that I'm involved with. That's coming on.
Oh, okay.
I told you he has his hand in a whole bunch of things because he fuels that adulation. I'm telling you, it's
therapist king.
No, because if you really just listen and pay attention to what he's doing, you can't come from the apex and just be medium. It's just not going to happen. And he was the apex predator. He was the big gorilla in the room. Like Cliff walks in the room, you're like, that's the guy. That's it.
Quick, we got to get the community question before we wrap.
Yeah,
we
let's get
to
these
end,
going.
and we've got to respect Lord Cliff's time. So, quick question from the community. They said, what was the goal as far as decision to make Gears a cover-based shooter? And they say, I say this because Gears has a very unique gameplay style that seemed very risky at the time.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically, you know, I love games that fail because you can see what they tried to do and then take it from there and make it better. And that was, when Lee Perry showed me Kill Switch, and I was like, there's something so compelling about the character, like actually interacting with the world, right? And then, Perfect Dark came out. I think it was Perfect Dark 0, and you could take cover in like 4 spots. Yeah. And I was like, no, let's make this like a universal thing, and let's, let's combine it with the rolling, let's combining it with everything. And the thing is we had the graphical advantage. And when you have that graphical advantage, you can take the player's controls and say, here's how are you going to play now. You're not just going to run around like an idiot. You're actually going to have to take cover. And of course, they all wind up rolling around.
Rolling like an idiot. Rolling around. Salute to them. All right.
But that's the thing is, there's very much this kind of like directorial, like back and forth that happens with the game design that you make as a creative with, the players, and you're kind of teaching them. You're actually, in a lot of ways being a teacher to the player. And, it was a great time. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
I think the cover-based thing, when you made them have gravitas, because when Marcus slams up against a piece of concrete, it's like like you rodeo run into it and you slam against it. It feels very visceral. It gives you that real world tension.
That's just feedback in general. That's just good game design. It's the same thing, the term of gun feel. Like you play the new Call of Duty, does the gun feel right? Does it feel crisp? Does a reload pop, right?
Right.
Actually, you guys follow that guy Commander Carl on social? He does those like reloads where he like reloads like ketchup packets and stuff. It's the funniest stuff ever. Trust me, it's great. It's good, it's good content. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the things. Like, so to nitpick one of the newer Gears. So I was watching my wife play Horde in Gears 5, and the camera, like when you play a Gears game, the main character and you zoom in should be the bottom left of the screen. And like I'm watching her play as Anya, and like it's the entire left side of the screen, and I'm like, no, this is the kind of stuff that I would fix. I'd go in a multi-city European press tour, and I'd come back and like the camera would be all messed up, the blood would just be like hosed, and I'm like, no one noticed this. Like,
it's still in him, kid. You see, it's still in him.
That's what I told you. I'm just like,
it's still in him.
It's just job insurance, but also that's the thing is learning all these systems. The same thing about learning how film works, and like I'll turn to Lauren like during a movie, I'm like, that was a really great shot. Did you check that was actually one take? And she's like, oh yeah, it really was, right? Or the music kicks in, or somebody's line delivery, and that's going back to the whole Marvel and DC thing. By the way, if your entire movie trailer is just CG stuff, I don't want to see your movie.
Not at all.
And my favorite movie, my favorite Marvel moment was Tony Stark sitting there with Cap, and they're at the cabin, right? And they're chopping wood. This is during an Age of Ultron.
And Cap is ripping them.
You can see Civil War kind of brewing,
building,
right? And it just breaks the to remind you he's a superhero, but no CG, no outfits, nothing, just two people having differentiating ideologies, and you don't so when the big act 3 CG stuff happens, then you actually care, as opposed to so much of it these days just like throw CG at them, and everybody in China will go and watch it.
Last community question was, Cliff, would you ever work for Xbox and create a small team similar to the team that made Hi-Fi Rush?
I mean, I'm open to anything at this point.
Oh, Phil, get on the phone.
The thing is, this is another one of those other phrases that I learned is don't sit at a table that you can't walk away from. Right. And so that's the thing about me being I'm financially independent, and I have full creative control over the multiple IPs that I'm working on.
Right.
And if somebody wants to come and fund it and do some stuff, I'm all ears, honestly.
Nah, brother, salute, man. Tremendous journey. I mean, man, we could go on with you for hours, brother. This is amazing. A true honor. One thing I respect about you is just your brutal honesty with a little bit of the self-deprecating humor, but you always come full circle. And I love the passion that you put in your projects, the personalization, the heart. Obviously you've been through a lot, with your dad. And listen, I highly advise people.
Please read the book.
Read this book one more time. Exactly. ControlFreak, brother. A couple things that woke me up, as far as the kid alluded to the bullying and the abuse situation really hit hard. And for me personally, I guess my personal final question is why put yourself out there like that? Why? This is really vivid stuff that a lot of people would never share. As men, we don't share that generally. So I want to commend you on that. But why? What motivated you to put that out there?
It was therapy. It was basically therapy that I make a little bit of money off of, honestly. But I believe, like the thing, the elephant in the room is, me talking about the fact that I was molested by a guy that I met on the internet when I was 15. And these are things that we as dudes don't talk about. Right. And this is the kind of, we were talking about Boston earlier, right? And there's a certain type of dude who goes out to a bar, right? And if he's not going to get a hookup for the night, he's picking a fight. And half the time he winds up sitting on the curb crying because his dad didn't love him enough, or whatever happened, right? And that's the thing is, we as dudes, we have to be in touch with our feelings, and that's the funniest thing about my Louisiana niece, right? When I watch something entertaining with her and I get a little misty eyed, she thinks it's hilarious that I actually cry at like an entertaining movie, and I'm like, and for me, I'm like, as a male figure in her life, for her to see that I actually have feelings, I think is healthy.
Yes, very healthy.
And, I think that's just incredibly important for dudes in general. And I think, if we start going down the flow chart of why we have so many mass shootings in America, I think that's one of the very many variables that are leading to this kind of thing, and also, an entire young generation of men that have no idea how to communicate.
Yes.
When you live online 24/7, you have no idea how to make eye contact. If you're a young dude, it really is. If you live on 8chan and 4chan 24/7, and your existence is memes, right? And it's just it's messed up out there, And I just, for me, as someone who's gone through the losses that I've had, the highs and the lows, if I can share it with somebody out there and hopefully inspire a new generation of people, then maybe I'm doing God's work.
Doing the Lord's work.
Yes, exactly. That was a callback.
That was a callback. That was a bar. That was a bar. You brought it full circle.
Can you tell I'm studying stand-up comedy?
And there's people in the chat. Yes, there is an audio version.
Yes, there's an audio version of the book.
People are like, kids, is there an audio version? Is there an audio version? I'm like, look, I agree with you guys, man. I like when people.
I've listened to it twice.
You can listen to it while you're driving.
People, Mark Rain actually gave me crap. He's like, you should be doing the audiobook yourself, and I'm like, I can't. Because every time I get to certain parts of the book, I get way too choked up. Because it's essentially it's a love story of my love of video games, but also video games leading to the love of my life with my wife. But through also, losing my father, my nephew, and everything that I'd gone through, and then just figuring out what's next. But stay tuned in the next few months. There's going to be some more news.
He's cooking up, man. I'll put the links to the book in the chat. Y'all go get that for real, man. It's extremely personal, extremely dope. The tradition that we do before we get people out of there. I just put the audio in. I got you, Deliver X. It's in there. ControlFreak. Look at the link. It's in there. They're like, where's the book? Come on,
I want to get it now.
We got you. And the link's in there. Go get it. Go copy. They got the audio and all that. We do the tradition. We ask every guest before we get them out of here. We need Lord Cliff's top 5 video games or franchises of all time and your favorite console of all time and why.
PlayStation 2, because it was just such a golden era of gaming for the console. I remember being at E3 and playing God of War and just being like, wow, that was just amazing. PlayStation 1 was terrible. I'm sorry. It doesn't hold.
Cliff, I'm about to kick you off the show. Now you was doing good. And you going to do this slander? After the jumping flash, you going to do this slander?
But part 2 was better.
Jumping flash holds up. But I mean, come on. Warhawk, I mean, come on.
You talking about fidelity.
There's nobody cosplaying Battle Arena Toshinden, okay?
Oh, see, now I got to get him out of here. We got to get him. We got to wrap him up. We got to wrap him up.
Best games.
Virtual Fighter was better.
Tetris is GOAT. Street Fighter 2.
Okay.
The Halo franchise.
Okay.
Counter-Strike.
Ooh.
And then Resident Evil 4.
Ooh.
That's crazy that you didn't pick anything of yours. But this is you. Every time I dissect this onion, it gets a little more deeper. Thank you.
Hopefully, the onion doesn't make you cry.
Oh, now do salute to the legendary Cliff Blezenski in the realm, an absolute pleasure, brother. We can hear you talk video games all day. You are a legend. You're an icon. One of the last rock stars of the industry. Brother,
not dead yet.
Not dead yet, still alive, right? Still looking good. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Salute. Soft Addict. Let's give him our outros. Get him out good, man. Addict, anything you want to say to the legend before he heads back to his day?
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you coming on because I remember I was talking to Cog and we were actually in the process of setting up the Hi-Fi Rush interview. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go on Twitter and just shoot our shot for CliffyB.
Shout out to Addict.
And he's like, I mean, yeah, man, go ahead and try it. And then like 30 minutes later, you respond. I'm like, yo, Cliffy,
we didn't know what to do. He did.
Because you was always like one of the you know, on the bucket list. You know, I got to get Cliffy on,
Well, it's
man.
the whole Wayne Gretzky thing. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yo, Attic is the
right.
epitome of that, bro. We would not be where we are if it wasn't for Attic. The way he shoots his shot. So thank you, bro. I gotta say that to you live. People, he is very critical to the success of IOP, and that's my bro. Salute.
That
to you,
is.
Well, thank you for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Soft King outros before the legend.
Yeah, I got him.
Yeah. Listen, Cliff, I listened to your book as soon as it came out, and I listened to it again this past week to get ready for the show. And both times, for me, it was just drawing the parallels between your life and mine, and in terms of like just the bullying and kind of feeling like I don't belong, and then just sort of coming into my own, and then sort of letting it go to my head, and then losing myself a little bit, and then being brought down to earth by just making bad decisions based on that hubris, and sort of where that took me. And I think one of the big things, having a starter marriage just like you did as well, and just and learning a lot about myself and growing up.
That first marriage,
yeah, I remember that first marriage. But I am not who I am today without that happening.
Yep.
So to see your journey and to see where you come to, and for me, a lot of my happiness today comes from the fact that I did find my forever person after that. And it could not have been without the struggles that I went through. So just drawing those parallels between what you've done and what I've done and experienced, it just kind of made me have a whole new level of respect for you. So again,
Thank you.
I'm just so happy for your journey. I'm excited to see what else you do. But man, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
No doubt.
Thanks for having me.
King, bars for the legend before he leaves.
Okay, so first I want to like to say thank you. Second, I never thought in a million years I would be in this position to talk to somebody that I've idolized for a very long period of time. So my wife got a chance to see me do research. Very rarely do I do research.
That is true.
On the people. I'm like, yeah, okay, we got that person this week, and it's whatever.
He finds out like
shout out to the other
3 days
guests
before.
King.
Oh, we're
shout out to everybody else to get prepared for.
No, well, it's not that. It's just the fact that I hold him in a supreme reverence. I really do. It's very few people that I do hold in this space, and you're definitely one of them. But she got a chance to see me do research. She watched me and listened to the book, right? And it was just points where I thought I knew you, and now I'm getting to know you. Yeah. Right. So I got to know. I knew CliffyB. I didn't know Clifford. Right. And I got a chance to learn and know Clifford. So that's why when I addressed you and when I put out the promo, it was Clifford Blezenski. All right, because you grew into that space. You grew from the child, and you had to build a shield around yourself, which was CliffyB. And CliffyB took you to the heights, but it also took you to the dark. And you came down to Clifford, and you're in this happy medium. You have your wonderful person that you want to end time with. You know, you're in a happy place. You're in a great place, and you're microdosing and getting your adulation from all around, and you're still working and creating, right? You're going to turn into your Galvatron, right? So Megatron, yeah. You know, you're not done yet, so you're going to turn into your Galvatron,
new body, you
know. And maybe you are the Decepticon, not the Autobot, right?
That is Autobot.
But
wow, you actually just went there.
Yeah, but
arise, Ron.
No one, because when you lost the company, and I lost 2 companies, and you know, like you said, feeding the people and seeing the people and stuff like that hurt. I was ignorant, thinking, "Oh, he went with the PlayStation."
Oh yeah, you was mad. You was mad with the
I was upset with that because I didn't understand it.
Which was a mistake.
Okay, can you explain that to King real quick? I know I'm asking for too much on your time, but because King was hurt.
No, I was really hurt because I was like, he's the Godfather.
They just had the bigger install base at the time.
Right. Okay, business,
right?
So,
business. It was just business.
Exactly,
and I respect it.
No doubt.
But I also love the journey and the person. And I can't wait to see the stuff that you're going to do. So it meant so much that I was early. They called me. I was up early. I was watching the pre-show. I was doing everything.
Yeah, I saw him in the chat. I was like, what is King up?
He up. He never did.
You know, it's funny, 12:30 doesn't seem early, but the King, that's early.
That's early for me too. So
I'm really respectful for this opportunity that you've given us, and that you've put a foot in my little history right now. So when I show this to my kids, and you didn't curse, and when I show this to my children,
he beat Jaffe. I didn't know.
He did. He only did one curse.
Yeah. Oh no, he beat Jaffe.
He defeated Jaffe
by a country mile.
Yeah, Jaffe at the end was like, all right, I'm done.
both of my sons can watch this and say that they daddy did this and they daddy met his idol, and you lived up to every expectation. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And how much per hour for therapy?
Cliff, the legend. Enjoy your day, brother. Thank you so much. You're welcome in the realm. Thanks, anytime. Again, the legendary Lord Clifford Blezenski, the rock star. Enjoy your day, brother. Have a good one. And thank you so much.
Thanks, Cliff.
Blessed day.
No doubt. So, you want to get the super chats?
Yes, sir. Hold on a second. Oh, we got some spicy.
Yeah, I saw.
It's extra spice. Extra spice.
That wasn't even really for me. It's just like wow.
For real?
All right, let's go back to the beginning.
You know what I mean? Should I do the poll question and give you time?
I think
you're going to do the poll question.
While you're doing that, I think the only other person that I would really love to have on the industry, besides obviously Phil Spencer, besides Cliff, is Todd Howard.
I heard good things. Peter, we got to talk too.
I got Reggie.
Yeah, Reggie.
Definitely
I like having Reggie.
Phil.
Yeah, Phil.
I don't think we'll ever have my Amato. Yeah. I think I'll die that day.
Kojima. We got to get him on the Leilu line.
I got to get
him on one for the Leilu.
But Neil Druckmann, please, Neil. If you're listening, Neil Druckmann. I gotta have a conversation.
Yeah, we got to ask
Abby
Colin.
I can see that. No doubt. I'll read the poll while you get some time. So last week's poll results to end. The people have spoken with the overall success of the Nintendo Switch, third best selling console of all time, but recent declining numbers in last quarter. What do you think is the right decision for Nintendo regarding their current hardware? The winner of the 4-way ILP poll at 58% of the vote was next gen Nintendo console group. They want the next gen, they want a full-on new start, new hardware. Coming in second place at 21% of the vote was Switch Pro upgrade. And then first time in a while, last place was tied. So it's keeping status quo that the Switch is fine. And I don't care, they better not have no $7 amiibos for Zelda. That was tied for last. So, all right, it is what it is. The realm have spoken. Okay, realm, whatever. But let's get to it, man. Super Chats is ready to rock.
Yes, sir. Let's I'm ready to rock. So we got Drive By Joe, $5 super chat. Oh no, actually that was just a $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Salute, drive by.
Yeah, he was just saying King is right.
And I saw people talking about the interview we had with Hi-Fi Rush, the lead developer.
Yes.
If you missed it at the beginning, don't worry. We're going to premiere it right after the podcast. You can watch it if you did miss it, because I seen a lot of people in the chat saying they missed it.
Yeah, we got you. John Johannes, the legendary Hi-Fi Rush director, Tango Games Work. We got you.
Then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 8, 7, 6, 10.
That's his name.
Who the hell?
$10 super chat.
10, 11, 12.
12. Yeah, it seems like they're allergic. It seems like they're allergic to the number 5. So I'm saying.
We old, and not a people gonna lie. Addict don't know what we doing right now.
I have no idea.
Like that. It was it's so. It was back in the day when you watch TV and they try to educate
Saturday.
So let's continue.
That Saturday morning cartoons is crazy.
And $10 super chat. They talk so bad about Game Pass. Game Pass is like your job paying your salary up front without you doing any work. Plus, you can make bonuses and work overtime. Who is going to say no to that? Exactly.
The big developers, apparently.
Then we have Kento Wilson, $9 super chat. Hi-Fi Rush is my game of the year.
Hold my beer. That's what Zelda said.
Salute to Chai. It ain't a wait.
Then we have Sith Lord member for 6 months, Lord Braun. Shout out to you, sir.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is in there. He in the chat like smiling, laughing, continue.
Lords, it's race day. It's almost time to get ready for the Daytona 500. It's my family's biggest enjoyment. Have a great show. I'll catch you all later. Shout out to Daytona.
No doubt. I was told by that from Sith Lord. Yeah.
I apologize to the people on the Twitch. We still haven't what happened on Twitch is they disconnected for some security thing. And we completely forgot to put that back in. So next
Twitch
week
Lords.
it will be back on Twitch.
Yeah, we get you. We'll take care of you. We'll fix it.
Okay, and we have, let me see, Big Mad Mo.
Yeah.
Member for 31 months. Lord Bronze, thank you, sir. They just got a salute. Thank you. Salute to you, sir. And we have Sith Lord member for 6 months, Lord Bronze. Oh, no, actually, I redid that one. Sorry. Then we have Chair Walker, member for 1 year. Put the crest in the chat for Chair Walker. Lord Bronze in the building. Okay. This one I read from Masochista already for CliffyB. I read that one already. Then we have Robert Callett, $2 super chat. Don't you mean David Daffy?
Yo, come on. Salute to the legend. Respect the legend.
Then we have Gerald Mack, member for 2 years, $5 super chat. All hail the ILP, salute the Lords, and the Lord of the real GOW Gears.
Yo, Gerald Mack was on the Gaming Circle podcast yesterday. If you didn't get a chance to check it, go back and watch it.
Yes. Shout out to KSRT in the chat. Shout out to
That's what's
Everborn.
up.
He made his debut, my man.
Nice.
The legend, the OG made his podcast debut. Salute.
And we have Simon Brandy, £5 super chat. Cliffy and Gears defined the 360 era for me. There's no showman in gaming anymore. I know it like Cliffy. Phil should tempt him back. I did read this one before as well. I'm sorry.
No, you good.
I think it goes a lot of stuff with that. Is, he wants to own his IPs and control his IPs.
Yeah.
He learned. You know, when you sell something that he created and he was with, and without any compensation, anything.
Yeah,
you know, that kind of hurts.
Especially how much intertwined, especially being like the person out there in all the interviews, the person like kind of the face of the company.
Man.
I can understand their mindset. They're like, look, we don't legally owe him anything, but I think morally you should have paid him.
It did kind of feel like, if you read the book, you kind of felt like when Cliff decided to walk away from Epic, that it was like, you know, Tim Sweeney was like, okay, you're now my competitor, straight up.
And what sucks with that is,
I guess his mindset too is he's gonna feed someone that's gonna take that money and put it into his own stuff too. So,
but that's not how. That was a father figure. You understand? So there has to be a level of, damn, bro. You know, it has to be there.
Right.
And the fact that, you know, he said, you know, they're capitalists.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you.
You know, I wouldn't like it, and I understand.
He definitely did him wrong. I wasn't saying it was
a tough
just
situation.
No. I'm not saying
tough. I say wrong, but it's business. It was business,
yeah.
and very quickly it became business.
Very quickly.
And that sucks really bad.
Yeah, that's when the friendship it gets. It's a strain on it.
Sticky.
Right? Yeah, it gets sticky.
Then we have THX1138, $2 super chat. I'm on the fence of not repurchasing The Last of Us a third time.
If you got a PlayStation 5, I'm going to tell you, do it. Do it. It's completely different. Do it.
Then we have Echelon 7, The Darkness, member for 25 months.
Not the darkness.
It just reminds me of Charlie Murphy. Darkness. The celebration.
The celebration. Darkness.
What did the five fingers say to the face?
Smock.
Then we got KO3 Black Truth. $5.
Man.
Oh wait, I didn't even read. I'm sorry, I didn't even read the
darkness. We just laughing with the.
Remember for 25 months, Lord Silver. This is the darkness again. Peace to the Lords and Lord Cliffy. Shout out to you, darkness. I'm sorry. What we got? And we have KO3 Black Truth. $5 super chat.
Tell him.
I was a PS dude until Gears dropped. Shout out to the OG. Yeah, a lot of people thought that way.
That's the one thing I wanted to bring up, but I knew we were running out of time. It's like, how's it feel to be part of a franchise that people put in the same line as like Halo?
Yeah.
He became a pillar.
Yeah.
Like this, Halo, Gears, and Forza.
Exactly.
He was the pillar. Yeah. Facts.
Then we have Mr. I'm sorry. Then we got Dreadpool, $2 super chat. Can I get a birthday song from Cliffy and ILP? I'm sorry. We're not going to say, brother, but happy birthday.
Let's give him a happy birthday.
That's my dude.
Happy birthday to you. Bunch of dying cats. Happy birthday
to you. Happy
birthday,
dear Dreadpool. Bet you in Florida you cool as hell. Happy birthday to you.
So you didn't get it when Cliffy was here, but you got it at
sorry. The end. And I'm sure you didn't want that version.
You didn't want that version. I apologize. We apologize. He's laughing. He's in there laughing.
The strangling cats version.
Yeah, the strangling cats. Many cats died.
What it is, man. We have too deep of voices, man. I'm sure he would like a little bit higher voices.
I'm more of a baritone,
Then we have Mr. Irishman, member for 19 months, Lord Silver. Shout out to you, sir. Shout out to the man who gave us the definitive third-person shooter series. No other third-person shooter is on the level of Gears.
Yo, you know what I noticed?
What's up?
I gotta say this, right? Because somebody said that, y'all were so good when y'all was humble and y'all wasn't pushing products. One, I wasn't pushing focus on you. Right? I wasn't at all. I was just telling you how great it is. Right? So if you can go buy it, that's on you, right? Because I don't get paid from this, but COG send it my way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me try it, and it works. So sorry if you
but you know what? Let's address that. Let's address that seriously.
Yeah. Let's get
and
it
the
now.
fact of the matter is, guys, you want us, we want to grow.
Yeah.
If you this is the game, brothers. And sisters, this is the game. When it comes to if we want to grow, we want to become bigger than what we are right now. Pause.
And a lot of becoming bigger has to do with, just people know who we are, and
Exactly.
what
You know what it
takes
was?
money.
It was the fact that I was telling you about the t-shirts. You misinterpreted what I said about t-shirts. If I said, have on this PAX shirt, and if you're in the PAX area, trust me, and you happen to go to PAX, I'm trying to make sure that something special.
I don't even think it's that though. Like if we go have a real talk about it, like let's be honest, the Lords, we've been putting it down for a long time.
For years we did with no monetary value.
No nothing. And it's like
I remember.
I just want to get these balls out. We try to get the luminaries in the community, the creators, the devs. We try to get people that you've never heard before, from a content creator standpoint, even up and coming people. It's not just a numbers game. So it's like, be damned if we're trying to grow this brand and really get this thing out there. And all we ask is for a little support. Subscribe and hit the like button. If you like the products that we're promoted and affiliated with, like the Valari, Advanced GG, and other things that we may talk about, you know what I'm saying? It's just like
you're gonna find out very soon.
You're gonna find out soon. Like, bro, like we work very hard. My man, all four of us work extremely hard to come here and show up on Sundays. I think it's not wrong to say, hey, this is what we're doing, and if you want to, it's an option. That's all we say. That's all.
I do appreciate every super chat. I do appreciate every
chat. Period.
I appreciate everything. I'm one of the only people that you can find that's on YouTube that has open DMs, open video game joining. I'm playing with everybody all day long on Fortnite. I don't hold my follows behind I need to have I'm nothing special.
You only got 1,000 subscribers. I can't talk to you.
I can't mess with you.
One thing I will say is after you guys, a couple people were being extra over my opinions on Starfield and I haven't released date, I did close my DMs. I was being attacked. You guys were looking for a witch hunt, and I shut that door. There ain't no witch hunting going here. I shut the door.
Yeah, you stupid.
How you shut out the people with the stakes at the door? Like, not today, Satan.
They sitting there walking towards the door with the door wide open with some pitchforks, some rope. I'm like, not here, buddy.
Not here, buddy. We
Lock
good.
the door with a vibranium lock.
Look, I get it. People sit there. First off, for whatever we, get sponsored or do anything on the show, you're gonna know that our morals aren't gonna be manipulated whatsoever. And the thing is like, look, we got to do what we got to do in terms of monetary value. You know, it's like I said, the more money we get, the more we can actually promote ourselves, the more we can get in front of more people. Because a lot of this is,
What's happening?
No, I mean,
are you pushing the product again?
I'm pushing this game. If you don't got it,
the thing is a lot of this game is numbers games. It's numbers games, and you know what? You know when you can actually go to these PAX events, go to these E3 events, it can get you in front of people that no one's heard from you, get you content that's not out there. And what does that cost? That costs money, and that costs a lot of money. You know, what's funny is like the road to PAX thing. I don't want people thinking like we pocketing that money. It actually is costing us more money to go to PAX than I put on there.
Actual.
Hey, when we tell you guys that everything
for E3,
oh god,
you had a heart attack.
Oh god,
you never gave me the date. Could you give me the date, please?
I'll give you the date.
And for the record, the Lords go to these events in person.
Where your people that go on these events?
Exactly, bro. Like that's all.
But the thing I can honestly say about us too is like, look, man, we're gonna do our little sponsored post, as you'll find out. But it's like we always gonna make it funny, man.
As you'll find out.
We're gonna do. We're gonna push our sponsored posts in the ILP way, man. We're gonna make it fun when you hear sponsored posts.
And unlike we utilizing the things we promote, we actually use the stuff.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, continue. So I'm sorry. Just have to get that out. Public service announcement.
Yeah, public service. PSA.
Yeah, PSA.
So we're gonna get that at Friday. I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, the 9th and 9th and leaving the 16th.
All right, 9th to the 16th.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, then we have Free R Kelly once again, $20 super chat. One more thing, Cliff, I gotta give it up to you're the GOAT. Gears of War 2 was the best game I ever played in high school. Then Microsoft murdered the franchise. Only you can save it. Oh my god!
I am really glad he came on. You know, I thought it was a long shot when I sent that. You know, and shout out to the realm. He never would have saw that if you guys didn't share it. If you guys didn't show interest, because you guys shown interest in those tweets. That gets the attention. Now, who's this, man? Every time I come on Twitter, there's 30 notifications. What is this Iron Lord's podcast going on?
Putting the pressure on, like, nah, Cliff, you gotta come through.
You gotta come through,
and he did that for sure.
And that was a great conversation.
Pick up his book.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to, break my arm off, pat myself on the back, but we did a fantastic.
We did that for sure.
Yes,
for sure.
Shout out to Attic for his hustle.
Yo,
no question.
I got that for half the price, B.
What you doing?
Like I said, they fluctuate.
Nah.
Oh, you got lights?
Yeah, okay. I got that.
Okay, make sure it's the seat you fit in.
Make sure,
no problem. Yeah, no, once I tell them, then I can move it around.
Okay.
But no, we got that. We
understand. Once I tell them I can move it around, he is
that link, bro.
No. See, I always do it. I always move it to the egress. You know, I like to have my feet out, and then I have probably one dude next to me. That dude, the last time he's putting
but they charge you for that. They charge.
I don't care. $30. It ain't 400 extra.
I feel that. Anyway, let's get to some chicken. We have some.
Okay. What do we have here? I got the birthday song. Then we got Hector the Macho Man. $5 super chat. All hail the Lords. This man helped me love Xbox because of Gears. So I'm here to give him his flowers. Side note, Slytherin gang or no gang?
Slytherin, you an addict.
Yeah, I'm Slytherin. Yeah, I actually...
They tricked you.
Okay, so there was a couple people asking, where's the Legacy, Hogwarts Legacy review? I'm going to be real with you guys. It's going to be a minute because most likely I'm going to be reviewing a game in the next week. And that's got to come priority because they actually sent me a review code. So I got to take theirs a little bit more serious because, when you guys, I don't think you guys realize having these games day one or before day one is so vital to growth. It's unreal. And, I might be reviewing a game that you guys been talking about. We ain't going into
You're an NDA dude?
I want to be an NDA dude so damn bad.
Yeah, he definitely want to be an NDA dude.
He want that bougie. He want the green jacket.
See, here's the thing. I don't want the bougie with everything. I just want the games. That's all I care about. I don't care about the parties, the getting invited to events.
I don't care about that.
Send me the game.
Yeah, just give me the game. Let's give it.
Give me the red carpet.
Continue, so.
Then we have Slow Mo Backslap. Remember for 2 years, $5 super chat. Cliff, here's a question for Cliff. I'm sorry we didn't get to it, but did Epic view Gears of War as a way to license Unreal Engine to other developers? Was it an earlier version of what they did with Fortnite?
No.
There was a really good question about the story narrative. If there was anyone else that they internally was going to kill, but ended up not going through the story. But it's like I said, guys, like we only have a certain amount of time with these people.
Yeah.
And then when he said the NDA thing, I got real nervous.
Yeah, I got nervous with him too. Yeah, and I was like, I got to fall back on certain things.
Yeah, but the Unreal Engine, remember, there was a game called Unreal. We never got to that part, but it was a game called Unreal.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, that was...
And when listen, he said very early on when he was doing Jazz Jackrabbit that they showed him the Unreal Engine build and said this is going to be
somebody that copped that little man.
That's what's up.
Doubt.
This is gonna be what's going to push the industry forward. So from the beginning, they already was going to figure out how to monetize it and get it to the people.
They had to, because Unreal was the response to Doom.
Yes. Oh boy. And did it over it.
Exactly.
Blew tech out the water.
Yeah, and we're gonna have real quick.
What's up?
We're gonna have, because we do have a shirt right now. It's with all of us in a line. Now I envisioned something different, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think we're gonna have to like communicate with people that actually design stuff for actual shirts and not just like logos. But I do have one that isn't what I wanted, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to the person that does all that stuff, because I do feel like that shirt will be a better shirt than the one we currently have now. But, I might actually share the screen while I read Super Chats, and you get your guys' opinion if you guys want this on a shirt or not.
All right, no doubt. Shout out to Ham.
All right.
What we don't want on pizza is mustard. Shout out to one
Dragon. Mustard.
Nasty and disgusting.
We want pineapple.
Mustard.
Mustard. And he did it. No, that's not a go, bro.
that's that part of Brooklyn we don't know about.
No,
the Bronx don't co-sign that. You don't do that over here. Throw pineapple over here. Don't throw no mustard.
The Volari pillows, they will be coming here relatively soon. I think he said around PAX East.
They'll be shipping.
They'll be shipping out
in the March.
So it'll probably be shipping at the end of next month, and you'll get them
in the March for Volari guys.
And all our UK people out there is ready to rock. So if you guys want to cop, it is there. Let's put that link in the chat.
These pillows.
These pillows, baby.
They're good
link
pillows
is in the description too.
I
love it.
And we'll be doing something
my
hand to
girlfriend's
hand.
daughter has like confiscated my pillow.
You'll get another one. We'll be doing something hand to hand with the Volari pillows in conjunction
on the show floor.
On the show floor at PAX East. It's going to be bananas.
Let's go. All right. Then we see Tyson Lewis, member for 1 year, $20 super chat. What's good, family? I wish you all a blessed Sunday and welcome to the realm, CliffyB. Yes.
Doubt.
The legend. Then we got Ham Solo from TSWS Gaming.
All right.
Put the crest in the chat for Lord Bronze. Thank you, brother. Appreciate the support.
Yeah, Ham, he got the he copped a little band t-shirt.
Yeah.
What's up? Little man rocks.
Then we have Let's Play with Each Other's Joysticks.
Yeah, he changed his name just for you, too.
Wow. $5 super chat. When are we getting the adult Gears dating sim where you can have buff cogs having relations with each other called shafts? Wow. I'll be there day one.
Yo!
Oh, he's starting to include the menage a trois.
Listen. That's something.
Nah.
My name did not come up in this.
He tried to shift it. He tried to shift it to me.
He pivoted.
All I know.
Listen,
all I know is I didn't hear my name.
He pivoted, and now he want buff cogs. This is the show of new happenings.
Oh man. Appreciate you. Super chat. Thank you.
Switch. Here's in the club. He yelled out, switch.
Switch definitely not coming in hot today. Moving on. He said, play with my joystick. It's coming in hot. Yo. Time. Move on.
Yo. Then we got Ham from TSWS Gaming once again. New member, $2 super chat. Go hug someone. Yes. Always go hug. Tell the people that you love them. Always. For sure.
Don't hug the wrong people because they be doing that. that's called inappropriate touching and harassment. Hug people you know that says it's okay to hug. I'm not endorsing to hug everybody.
Let's understand personal space, people.
Unsolicited hugs. Don't you run up on me.
Don't you buck up on me.
Oh, man. Not you buck up on me.
Yeah, bucking up on people.
Then we have Robert Kellett, $2 super chat. Cliffy spitting bars. Men have emotions too. Yes. If you think you know who Cliff Blezenski is, read that book.
You know now.
You'll find out.
Then we have Tom909, £2 super chat. Brian Fargo should be up there. Or King minus Kit. I guess eggplant.
Okay.
He's like, no eggplants for me.
No, King of the eggplant. Yeah.
No, we don't.
Yeah, let's do that super chat.
Hey, yo, I'm out of here.
Why don't you turn your camera off?
No.
So there we got Black Boxing Kings, $5 super chat.
Okay.
Salute to the podcast. Love the show. Hashtag 305.
Oh, I salute.
That's what's up.
Then we have Nintendo the Otaku, $5 super chat. They want to scream support the devs for games they don't buy, but they don't want to support the podcast they listen to every week. Shaking my head. Listen, we know it's not the vast majority of people saying things like that. We know the vast majority.
It was just one person.
It's just, it really, we just want to put it out there. Like, when we tell you that everything that comes into this podcast goes right back into content for you guys, it's the truth.
Yeah,
it's 100% truth.
100%.
I'm going to share this picture while you finish this. These are the ones that I'll actually do want to put on share.
Okay. Then we got Hargeet Chani, $5 super chat. It's sad you have to justify trying to make money. Keep hustling, brothers. No need to feel bad about it. Growing a business is work and needs money. Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, for real.
We have AKW with the £5 super chat. Hit that like button and save a little puppy with one eye. And that one eye is crossed. Damn. How you have one crossed eye?
One crossed eye. I like that one. I think we gonna get that done. We gonna get that shirt done?
Yeah. See, originally I wanted this to be a design that went on the entire shirt, but at this point it's like let's just put it on a shirt because we do have a shirt currently.
Why Saul look like he giving King the side eye?
Side eye.
Like yo, he's feeling what King's saying.
We talked about that a long time ago. But I'm cool with the side eye.
No, King looking back at him like, yeah, I'm standing on it.
Because what happened there, this is what I talked about. Because we had the round table, we talking about playing my joystick is outside.
Oh yeah, he's back. Oh man, he's back. He just put something right there. Oh man, he's back.
So I will be slowly getting this into the Teespring. We'll probably take down the one that has all four of us because I feel like this is a way better one to have on that. Like my grand plan is to replace the one where it's just Cog and him have a like.
My grand plan is to get Cog out of here.
My grand plan is to replace Cog.
My grand plan.
Let me finish my statement. All right, so as of right now, we have a shirt that has all four of us on it, and then we have individual ones that have us on it. So what I plan on doing is this is the one that's going to replace all four of us, and I want to get shirts that's going to have us individually drawn kind of like this in their own scenarios, like Cognito with the shinobi. Maybe he's in like some ninja pose on top of a mountain or something, and I want to replace all those because my goal is to get to make shirts that you guys will want to buy, not only to support the podcast, but you would rock at, like on the movie.
Yeah, but what's up with that thing that's under Cog's chin?
What happened? Oh, that's my breastplate thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the breastplate
coming out. So like if somebody go to swing at your neck.
I got my throat.
Okay, so you got a neck protection.
Don't come for my throat.
Neck.
Because this is
protect
like
the neck.
This little gold piece.
Yeah, the gold piece. You see my 49 drip? Iron.
Yeah. Well, the drip is dope. I'm just talking about that little.
Yeah, that little piece. Just when they try to come for my throat,
Okay.
Deflect that.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't come for his throat.
Don't do that.
Moving
on before it goes left. Moving on before it goes left. Time.
Dragonheart Yobi, member for nights. He was Lord Gold. When it comes to the gaming podcast space, I honestly believe Iron Lords is the place to be stamped as official.
Thank you.
Thank you for existing, gentlemen. You are all legends. Hashtag peace, love, life. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that, man. I really do.
Preach.
And we got one bad mother. $10 super chat. Amazing interview, friends. There's a lot to learn from these stories to inspire and learn from in our own endeavors. More than just a gaming podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, shout out to Cliff, man. I'm proud of that, man. Like I honestly had little hope that he could not like censor his.
Yeah, I thought we were done before that.
I thought it was okay. This is gonna be a PG-13 show. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, but that man came in here. He's like, yo, this isn't something I feel comfortable doing, but I respect your guys' your guys' hustle, so I'm gonna do what I can.
And it was a great talk.
He's a professional.
Salute.
And he has grown.
Yes. You can see
that's the thing, right? That's the thing that he's such an evolved version of CliffyB.
Yep.
Like it's crazy.
Man, we need someone let that man make games again, man.
He gave us the balls.
Right. Coming out in June.
Yeah.
And if anybody pick up the phone, it's going to be on his terms.
And on his terms,
exactly.
Then that's a smart move.
I personally feel like he has. I get it. Like studios don't want to take risks on projects they won't own and stuff, but it's just like, man, I honestly feel like someone in this industry can make a fantastic game. Just let Cliffy be Cliffy.
I mean, he did say that he's still conversations Phil be in the DMs.
Come on, Phil.
Listen, like you said, he's under NDA for certain things. And Phil Dominus, Maximus Aurelius Spencer has slid in many DMs.
So you never know. I see him on that Summer Jam stage.
He told you that PlayStation bag was a mistake.
I see how you said that.
I know he was so vindicated in that moment.
King was so vindicated. He was like, yes. Lord breaking shit to me now. Yes.
I'm not going to lie. It broke my heart.
I remember.
When he did it, it broke my heart.
I remember when the announcement came and me and you got into an argument about it on the phone. He's like, nah, son, I'm not feeling that. Like, why he over there?
Nah, I didn't like that. But because we don't see certain people do, cross-pollination either. I didn't like that. But you get a chance to understand things. Yeah. But he understood, and he said it. It was a mistake. I was chasing the numbers. There was a market leader. I should have rocked with who I was rocking with. and you know what? Honestly, I'm gonna tell you this. I think if he would have rocked with us, we would have rocked with him.
Think that Lord Breaker's Game Pass would have did?
Yeah. Okay. No, they didn't have Game Pass then.
Oh, Game Pass didn't exist, yes.
It didn't exist then. But I'm going to tell you right now.
Imagine if Game Pass would have existed back then.
I'm going to tell you now, if he thinks about it, he can re-up that Lawbreakers.
I'm thinking he's going to
throw it inside Game Pass. Well, go with another name, do whatever. But the same formula, because I was looking at the game and
the gameplay is good.
The gameplay is tight.
It was a movement game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If he does that same formula and throw it inside Game Pass, the level of success could be
question in chat. Feel free to put it in the chat. Just make it brief. But if Microsoft did pull up and was like, "Yo, we want you back," would you want him to go to Gears, or would you want him to have his own little studio?
His own show.
Yeah, put a poll. We gotta get these chats. We gotta show them.
Yeah, no, we haven't started the show.
We haven't started the show yet.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we having full conversations.
We got Nintendo the Otaku $5 super chat. Also, y'all patting yourself on the back. Don't get cocky out here. They got people in these streets that don't like it when you know you got it.
We ain't got it.
Hard work. We don't got nothing.
We ain't got it. I don't know what you seeing, but we ain't got it.
I just love it when there's an industry vet, a legend come on the show and they feel so comfortable. Yes. And you could tell he was comfortable. And he was just talking. And I love that.
That's humbling, yeah, for sure.
Then we have Gamers Play HUD XX0, $2 super chat.
I think my bad for real.
Review codes are priority over other reviews. Let's get them codes in.
Well, that's the truth, because the game didn't launch yet and it has to come out. It's very different when Addict has to go spend $70 of his own money because he asked for the review code and it didn't show up. No, we're gonna give the respect to the people that shot it over, that respected Addict. So yes, Addict, you're right.
It's not even that. It's I would have no issue paying for it if I just got it when the reviewers got it. Like it's that makes it hard, because once especially something like Harry Potter, having to play it for 2-3 weeks, at that point I'm still going to release it because we want the coverage, but I'm going to get a fraction of the engagement and a fraction of the traffic that I got if I had it on launch. You know, I'm not entitled to one. It'd just be nice if I got it. Like,
yeah, that's right.
And we have Lord Metroid, $2 super chat. King is eating Popeye's biscuits. Get a Malta. A Malta with some Popeye's biscuits is no bueno, man.
Well, first of all, this is not a Popeye's biscuits I'm playing with me. This is a macadamian white chocolate.
Ooh, I said,
because King didn't have any lunch. So instead of crashing, I'm here.
Then we got Hollywood Rules, $5 super chat. Happy Sunday, fellas. Welcome back, King. One Away Dragon is inaccurately portraying BK. Yeah. I want him voted off the island for putting mustard on pizza.
One Away the homie. We got to take his BK stamp on
Nah, his car got to go
mustard
away
on pizza, bro.
Mustard. Nah, bro. That's not
wildin',
it.
bro.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, no bueno. No bueno. Let's not do that.
No, you wouldn't work.
I love you, but you gotta cut that out.
Let me see. Also, we jumped a little bit.
Okay.
And they jumped. Okay, give me a second.
Now you go.
And we have
Hollywood.
Soma King.
Okay, yep.
I just
did
Hollywood.
Hollywood. Yeah, Soma King, my fault.
Okay, Soma King with the £4 super chat. Cheers, gents. Cheers to you as well, sir. Appreciate that.
Salute.
And we have Let's Play with Each Other's Joysticks.
Oh, he's back.
$5 super chat. Sorry, Cognito. I know I said Cog in the chat, and I respect you're sexy, but Sav is the only one for me.
You know what? Good. I'm glad. I don't want to stay in the middle of that. I'm glad you've identified where your true love is. So I'll play my position. I'll play my position.
I can't fight it, man. He's not gonna fight it.
I can't compete with Sav.
You know what, Sav? I'm starting to think maybe you should fight.
We gonna do.
So I gotta say, shout out to Crazy Lou Gaming.
Oh, what's up?
All the way from the Dominican Republic.
DR?
Ship me something crazy.
We got some Brugal. What do you got over there?
Oh nah, got the cigars.
Ooh, very nice.
Crazy Lou. Thank you.
Salute.
Yeah,
good dude.
This is one of the gifts that I got so far. So this is Crazy Lou. We'll get to the next one.
Time.
Keep going.
I got about that.
Stop hating.
No, I'm not trying. We ain't started the show.
Yo, then we have Amazing Neil, $2 super chat. I need that shirt.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Then we have Matt Without Fear, member for 13 months, Lord Silver. Great to see the CliffyB shot paying off. The Lords are off to a great start in 2023.
Thank you.
You guys have no idea,
brother. Yes, sir.
We got some stuff cooking.
Oh, you do it.
And we have ZGL7.
I'm hungry.
He's like,
it's time,
bro. We haven't started the show until 3:20 p.m.
I ain't have breakfast. I was there for a pre-show before y'all. So
then we have ZGL7, $20 super chat. Just adding to the PAX fund. Can't wait for more great content. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Much appreciated. And we have the Rubber Knob, the $5 super chat. This is the only podcast I choose to financially support. Show some respect and hit that like button. Save the kittens from the spiky bushes.
Yes. Thank you, man. You're really doing the Lord's work.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you.
Hold on, let me roll back because we did get jumped. Okay, we have Clutchman 01, $5 super chat. Can someone make a basketball game or mode with these hilarious NBA, Instagram, TikTok edits? I might actually play it. Have a great show, fellas. Thank you, bro. That's funny.
And this comes from Rip Snorter.
Okay.
Whoa, what's the name?
Rip Snorter. Go follow these guys. He sends me, and I have to go take it and get it.
What's a boxing joint?
Put in a plaque. Yeah, it's a signed autograph Manny Pacquiao.
Oh, that's
picture.
fire. That's fire.
This is definitely. I'm going to Michael's and going to go put it in.
Beautiful. Wow.
Frame and put that up. I do appreciate it. This came from a very far place. I'm not going to give you his coordinations. You know what? Totally respect everything.
the only good thing I ever got in the mail from this podcast was King's knees.
And they came shea butter in hand. You got the shea butter version.
Then we got Fonz Gaming, $5 super chat. Mustard on pizza. What the hell?
Yeah.
Anyways, proud of you, brothers.
No, salute.
Yeah, he's been excommunicated.
All complaints to 108 Dragon TV.
Yeah, excommunicated. Yeah. He out of here. John Wick, he gone.
Then we have Gamers Play HUD Zero. Once again, $5 super chat. Lord Sav, it's pronounced zero. Okay, HUD Zero. Excuse me, HUD Zero.
Okay.
Love you, Lords of the Realm. The baby has grown large. Getting CliffyB is a huge get. Hashtag stay awesome. Hashtag game on.
Salute.
Thank you, brother. I will not mess it up again, Lord Zero.
We got him. We good?
We good. We're caught up.
All right, let's go. Get this show started.
Yeah. Actually, there's still one more thing you got to do. I forgot. Patreon question of the week: Dip Down Games and Anime.
Is there only one though?
There's only one. There's only one. All of the lords are trapped in a room due to reasons.
We're trapped.
Due to reasons.
There's only one way to get out. All of you have to come to an agreement. Which one of these is wiped from history, past, present, and future? Bungie, Rockstar, Epic, or the Legend of Zelda series? And only way we could get out this room, of all of us have to agree on this one.
This ain't fair because I feel like
So
I'm not saying Bungie,
Zelda.
so we ain't
You
getting
said
out this
Bungie,
room.
Rockstar,
Epic, or Legend of Zelda series.
I gotta go with Rockstar.
I gotta go with Epic.
Ooh.
What?
Well, I know something.
Wait,
We're not getting out.
What are you talking about?
Wait, we just had
What?
Oh my God!
Wait a second.
Okay. Look,
Bro.
with all due respect, I love Gears.
With all due respect,
all due respect, I
hell
love
no.
Gears.
We gotta kill Addict.
Listen. I think our best way out this room is to get Solve to agree, but he never gonna agree with Rock. I think we can all three of us can survive without Rockstar.
Yeah, we can live without Rockstar.
We need to convince Solve.
Yo, the super chats are getting ridiculous.
Whoa! Let me play with King's joystick. Whoa!
Nah.
£2 super chat. Addict takes his knees, but let me take his
Yo!
Nah.
And he made a name. Let me play with King's joystick.
No, we gotta get that over here. We gotta get that over here. You bugging.
They support.
We not supporting that.
So son, what would it take, man, to get you to? We gotta get out this room, and you holding us up.
Y'all are bugging. I'm gonna go with Addict on Epic.
No, we don't have the engine. That's
Yo, bro, you know what
you gotta.
What do
point.
you-
Yeah,
I
we don't have
take
Unreal
that back.
Engine without
I
Epic,
gotta
bro.
take that back. I
Yeah,
didn't even think
you
about
absolutely
Unreal.
not.
But here's the thing.
Solve.
I feel like someone would rise in its place. The
Exactly.
No, Unity? Hell no.
The
You don't want to live with a Unity full world.
Listen. Rockstar could die tomorrow. It would not
Hey,
hurt
listen, Solve,
millions
think about
of
this.
developers.
They take so long to make the games anyway.
Yeah, right? It's 10 years, 20 years a game.
Come on, Solve,
One
let's
game
get out
for 20
this
years.
room.
Why can't it be Bungie?
Nah.
What the hell wrong with you?
Fam, nah.
Listen, ain't no Halo.
We
Ain't
won't
no
have Destiny. Nah,
Come
you
on,
fucking
man. Xbox would be Xbox without Bungie.
And is that my problem? That's not my problem.
But you got to think about it.
All right, so what about
That's the modern
right,
shooter.
let's come for Addict. What if we say Zelda?
Hell no, I'm not gonna go for that.
With no Zelda in existence.
No,
Okay,
Bro, we're
this is all
not
I'm
getting
gonna
out of
say.
this room.
Rockstar
We're
got
not
to
getting
go.
out of it.
Rockstar.
Like,
Rockstar got Rockstar's the weakest link.
What I'm gonna do?
I was Rockstar the weakest link.
Oh, hold on,
You know why?
let's
Because they
rein
don't
it back.
make games.
Get at it.
Let's rein
Get
it
at
back.
it.
We're going different direction.
Uh,
All right, so we're not getting out of this room. We're dying.
we're dying in this room. We're just,
Okay,
Nah,
but
we
what
just
I
gonna
will
kill each other
do,
off.
what I will,
I'm stubborn. We're gonna die together. That's it.
what I will do is I'll put it. I will put it in. I will put a poll
Yes.
in the chat, and the realm will decide.
Yeah, let the
what
realm
goes.
decide. Let the realm decide. Let
But
the
the
realm decide.
realm ain't in the
Move on.
room.
Like,
Yeah, the realm ain't in the room. The
The
realm ain't in the
question
room.
was us four.
It us four.
But here's the thing: we're not deciding that. Let's be honest.
I have
ain't getting rid of
decided.
Zelda.
We're not gonna
I
get
ain't
out
getting
this
rid of
room.
Zelda. King, are you getting rid of Epic?
I'm not getting rid of
Bungie. Getting rid of
Bungie.
Epic?
Listen, Rockstar got to die. We all came to
Here's the thing, though.
It's solving with us to live.
Let's be realistic here. Cog's not getting rid of Bungie. There's no discussion that's making that happen.
Yeah.
I'm not getting rid of Zelda. There ain't no discussion making that happen.
You're not getting rid of Epic.
And
Solve's not getting rid of Rockstar. We're never getting out of that room.
Listen, we can give Solve a horse simulator. Solve can get a horse simulator.
Solve a budget off that,
that's
bro.
Nice. That's nice. Yeah. No, because the skybox isn't good enough. So
Dip down. Unfortunately, the Lords died that fateful night.
You died.
No,
the legend IOP will go on in spirit.
This is like the storyline for like Saw 10. Like
this is literally all of our. This is when Cain killed Abel.
Oh, you betraying your brother.
This is literally all of our back jokes, side jokes in one poll.
Yeah, we're not.
And that's the reason Zelda, they didn't say the Zelda like Nintendo because he didn't want Nintendo. Yeah. He said Zelda because he knew they knew what he was doing. And I'm not playing by his rules.
It's
over. I'm going to die.
Yeah, you can buy something to the chat. It's over. We're dead. We're dead. We're not surviving this film. So. It was a good run. Thank you, Dip Down Games.
But I will say, that is a very hard four-way poll.
Yes, very much.
Very hard four-way.
I don't know how he knew I was going to go with Epic, though.
Yeah, I kind of know. Plus Cliffy, I know
you've been playing Fortnite so much.
And Fortnite, you're definitely not getting rid of
That's not it. See me with the Epic engine.
Yeah, unreal.
Powers everything.
Yeah, that's the industry.
Yeah, you will have no Microsoft.
Moving on, we're gonna get this topic.
We got Robert Kellett, $2 super chat. Too many tainted joysticks, fam.
Oh, it's crazy. Joystick tainting is crazy. Good.
And keep in mind that's on Patreon. If you guys join the Patreon, you can ask us questions at the beginning of every show.
Yes.
I thought about putting one for the members, but you guys get to ask us a question every month with that members chat thing.
Salute to the Patreon. Salute to Dip Down.
And the
Great
Patreon,
question.
Dip Down has been living.
Dip Down's doing his thing. I love the questions, brother. Thank you. All right, are we good?
And I'll put the Patreon in the chat.
Get into this topic now, sir. We'll start the show.
Sure, we can get into this topic. Finally get to the show.
But to be fair, I don't think this is going to be like a crazy show.
Yeah, so this is King's topic. So it looks like ShotTheGamesIndustry.biz had an article out. What would a Game Pass dominated landscape look like? And this is an opinion piece they put out. Nobody's surprised by Microsoft's admission that Game Pass cannibalizes paid sales, and many companies are untroubled, but a potential monopoly remains a threat for others. And they go on to talk about what's going on in the CMA, Microsoft's admission that Game Pass negatively affects sales at least for a year, and this has been a talking point as far as a world where Game Pass could dominate. So, King, your thoughts? It's your topic, sir.
Okay, so after reading the article, and I mean, of course, the headline is like clickbaity in its sense. I walked away from it feeling that he was right. A lot of times we get articles and we don't read it. We just read a paragraph and we're coming in without bias. And this week I felt, after drinking some Focus.
Product placement. Links in the description. Code Iron Lord.
Yeah.
Check out advanced.gg.
I was able to get through this article with little to no problems and comprehending everything because I was super focused when I was
focused. Yeah, for real.
Yeah, crazy focus. And what he's worrying about is the connection to the big studios with the consumer. Right, because he brings up Steam as Steam is a storefront that people get to peddle their wares. But Game Pass is really the service and their wares are in there and they really don't have any control of what's inside the service. You just purchase the service and there's a disconnect because Microsoft becomes the proprietary owner of how you get the service. So he feels that is a fear of once Microsoft controls that, and it becomes successful, it changes how we see things like sales of games. Same thing with movies and how we purchase music. Remember when Eminem would sell 10 million copies of a song, of an album? That'll never happen again, right? I'm seeing artists now sell 40,000 and they view that as a success. opposed to before you had to sell 1 million copies of an album, and that we went platinum status. So we won't have these artists go platinum. They will have to go platinum streaming. They won't ever go platinum on direct sales anymore of physical copies. And that's going to be the decline in the physical copies as the companies start to fix themselves and right themselves. My question is, when y'all read this, what was your opinion of the piece? It was a very well-written piece, in my opinion of it. And I tend to agree with all the stuff that he said by the end of the piece, and I'll give my rebuttal at the end.
No doubt. Attic, you get a chance to read, or just the whole idea of Game Pass potentially cannibalizing sales and discussion about Game Pass being dominant?
I mean, look, I do think that, I mean, I've said from the start, Game Pass does cannibalize sales, but it's what Microsoft wants. You know, they've encouraged you multiple times, subscribe to Game Pass. Why would you realistically buy any, especially first party stuff in the platform when you could just get it on Game Pass? And that's okay, because Microsoft wants it that way. They want to be that, you know, okay, we got these games to deliver. So instead of, you know, charging, you know, anywhere from $30 to $70 and these for these couple months, we want to take money from you all year long.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is what it is. I do think that, you know, these were statements that was taken years ago too. And obviously, you know, the landscaping of things change. Everything's not going to be like it was in 2017, 18. So it is what it is on that end. But I do want to point out that we've seen, you know, what it might catalyze when it comes to something like the first party stuff, Starfield, Redfall. I don't think people give it props for other incidences where I'm 100% convinced that Game Pass saved the games. Outriders. That game probably wouldn't have done as well as it did when it came out. And now, not only did it come in Game Pass, it was crossplay.
Yeah.
So I'm playing it on here, and I got someone on PlayStation. Yo, I can't. You know, it's not in Game Pass. Guess what? They buying that if they want to play with me. They don't got Game Pass. Steam, same thing. So, you know, what you see lacking and stuff, I do think that people don't see the other end of the spectrum. They just want to look at the first party stuff. Microsoft expects the first party stuff to go through. That's because they have Game Pass. You mean to tell me Microsoft didn't say, you know what? It's like Calvin and they're like, do you guys honestly think that, you know, I think people are still going to buy your games. Why would they? When's the last time you saw someone that has a Netflix subscription say, you know what? Stranger Things is fire. I'm going to wait for it to come on DVD.
Let me get the box set.
Yeah, like look, like people obviously, that's why I'm very, you know, adamant about, you know, when it comes, the only thing I will say when it comes to Game Pass is the small indie games they get, you know, the names, Tunic, what's the one with the one that we played last year, and what was that game called?
Everybody Saves the World.
Everybody Saves the World. No, it's the Death Reaper one. I can't remember.
Death's Door, was it?
Death's Door, yeah. Games like that, man. You know, if you really vibe with those IPs, go buy it, man. Even if you're just going to give it away to something, because I feel like those games, that additional income, you're going to lead to a better product going down the line.
Solve your thoughts on the article. Game Pass cannibalizes sales, and can Game Pass be too dominant?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, when you look at the context of it, right, it's a document from the CMA sort of findings and whatever. Much like,
let's be real, you can't take 100% of this seriously.
Right, but what it is like, you just like PlayStation, right? It behooves Microsoft to look as weak as possible in this documentation. You have to look. PlayStation is the most dominant. We can't touch them. Much like PlayStation was like, oh, Call of Duty, nothing can touch it. There's nothing like it. We can't even hope in a million years to have a franchise like Call of Duty. Like, it's the same. So it's the same sort of hyperbole that, again, when you're talking to people that don't understand the gaming industry like that, you need to put out those kind of examples in order to show that A, you're willing to acquiesce to whatever they need for this deal to go through, and B, that you're fine with admitting that you're in a weakened position or a position of less power. So admitting that Game Pass cannibalizes game sales is just part of that. And the fact of the matter is, it's funny because I remember years ago when we first heard the idea, and coming from Phil and coming from the higher ups over at Xbox, that the idea that Game Pass actually promotes more sales. I'm like, to myself, I'm like, that just sounds backwards to me, right? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, right? And if you think about it, Phil never said that it promotes more sales on Xbox. What he said was that it promotes more sales generally, which if you're somebody, right?
And you know, with a specific instance though, he said, I think it was Forza Horizon 4 specifically, which when they asked him is where the quote is coming from, I'm seeing.
Right.
And so plus, I was just going to say, you got to keep in mind a lot of these games now, especially the Forza franchise, they have that like 3-day access, early access if you buy like the deluxe edition. So if you have a bunch of people buying those because they don't want to wait for the Game Pass drop, I could see how at that time you could probably get more of a result at the end of it, because I don't think Forza was selling like that, like as well as it does back then too.
Well, you know what I think, the promotion and sales, and they don't tell you that it's sales of the game. I think it's the sales of the DLCs that for the game, right? So Game Pass will give you the base, but if you want this little extra stuff, you got to go buy this. And let's say 1 million people or 20 million people tried Vampire Survivor, and then they noticed that it was DLC, the Moonlight DLC that's in there for $2. If only 10 million buy it, that's a huge success.
Yeah.
And I think that Forza was the first time Hot Wheels was implied into the Forza brand.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So for me, it is that thing of like, it's selling. It's because it's in front of so many more eyes, because it's in Game Pass. If you're somebody who absolutely is like, I'm on another platform, I'm not getting Game Pass. It makes no sense for me to get an Xbox, no matter how good the deal is. But if you're hearing the buzz about the game and there's so many more people talking about it because of Game Pass, you're going to buy it on another platform. It's just what's going to happen. So in general, I can understand the idea of Game Pass promoting sales elsewhere. Does it make 100% sense that it would not promote sales on Xbox unless, like Attic mentioned, you have, you know, that the incentives to get it 4 days early or DLC or stuff like that? Yeah, it makes 100% sense.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes we forget, though, that during that entire period that it's there, if you want to purchase it, you can also purchase it at a 10% discount, right? Correct. If you wanted to purchase it and forget about the Game Pass stuff. So to me, again, it is what it is. It absolutely is true. We weren't crazy when we were like, I don't understand this concept, because the concept was broader than just the Xbox ecosystem. And in that, looking at it under that microscope, it does make sense. But the fact of the matter is, on the Xbox ecosystem, if you're in it, if you're really in it, chances are you got Game Pass.
Exactly.
And that's, like, to Addict's point, that's what Microsoft wants, because in the long term, when you do have a successful subscription service, long term, you're ending up paying for games over a 10-year span that, you know, little by little, that money goes to whatever. It doesn't specifically go to certain games, but when you add it up, you paid for these games that are $60, $70 retail games 5 times over, whatever, during the course of. So it's just, they're playing the long game, right? And the hope is that they can sustain the long game with a $70 product. Because I think the difference is, when you talk about the difficulties and the things that people see about how it could change the gaming industry for the worse, right? A lot of the criticisms are that it's going to change it for the worse. It's just the fact that it's not the same paying a subscription service for a movie that whatever would cost you however much money to pay for it, to watch it in a movie theater, whatever, $30 or whatever, as opposed to a $70 product that's cost $200 million to make, and it, you know, there's a certain amount of revenue coming back that's expected, and, you know, does that work in the long term for a product that requires that much money going into it? And I think those are valid concerns, but again, we won't ever know the answer to that till it plays out. And that's it.
No, absolutely, well said. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I thought this was kind of funny to me. I mean, I saw, you know, the whole thing about cannibalizing sales, and, you know, to me it was just like a no-brainer. Of course it's going to cannibalize it. It's a digital subscription. They've changed their model to a subscription service that, one, is twofold. One is to get people to subscribe to it. So if Hi-Fi Rush launches into a service, right, and it's a quality game, of course people are going to subscribe to Game Pass, and the majority most likely will do that. Now, yes, you will have instances where people will buy the retail or buy the Steam and other stuff that could promote other sales and based on the virality, but that's what's to be expected. I think the thing that's funny to me is like I'm seeing like there's this gotcha moment. See, in 2018,
yeah, people are reaching with this.
Yeah, like, and I don't understand that mentality because
like Phil Spencer's lying.
Yeah, because it's like, all right, in 2018, he's talking about Forza Horizon specifically in that instance, and that it led to more game sales. But we know, and I don't think that applies to every game in Game Pass. Right? So my thing is for each situation, it's different, right? There's going to be some depending on the developer relationship as far as the Game Pass deal that they got. Because the way it's explained is that they enter the service, right? And let's say, for example, Mike said, "Oh, that game looking real fire that you got over there."
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Projected sales.
So if you're a developer and you know the amount of risk and cost, right? And you're hoping that your game goes viral. You're hoping that it sells all these units, whatever. And then Microsoft says, like, here's our projection. We'll give you this bag. That's a security blanket for devs to say, okay, you're giving us a bag. We can relax, right? Then on top of that, we throw it in the server.
The game.
Right. And we finish the game because we know the cost of development. So if they get it into the service and then you got, 30 million or 25, whatever it is, that's in Game Pass, and then they say, okay, you have the potential virality of all these built-in subscribers just by launching it into the service. That is attractive to some. Now, on the flip side, let's just say, for example, you take Two, right? And you like, yo, we got, Grand Theft or whatever, right? And Mike's like, yo, that game look good. And you might say, Mike's, we good. You know what I'm saying? We want to sell everywhere. We think our bag could be bigger, right? And it's what Sov said. Microsoft is playing the long game. So all this, I get it. A lot of people are so hung up on sales and NPD and even me. Like I was in that bag where I'm like, damn, like, why they didn't chart, whatever. The service is counterintuitive to that.
Exactly.
The service is literally, they don't care, not that they don't care about sales, but they are more focused on you subscribing to the service, changing that 25 million to 30 million to 100 million. So now you go back to Rockstar. Right, I got you at it. I go back to Rockstar, and when Rockstar, let's say, I'm just making them the enemy for now, just for jokes. But like,
because they killed us in that room.
So because remember, Zolnik Strauss was one of the ones, even though he be putting 2K in Game Pass. But whatever, I'm having fun with this. So now, let's say Game Pass is at 100 million, and now you like, you gonna serve what's up? You know what I'm saying? 100 million off rip. Can play your game, you know what I'm saying? Then it changes the conversation. So they're playing the long game. The thing I don't like, and I'll give it to you, Addict, is that I'm just not from this era of badging something that is saving me money, right? That is a deal, right? And then I'm pro dev. So if the devs, we have the devs on, they say, yo, this deal was amazing for us. We got peace of mind. We got security. We saw all this virality.
I wish that the developers speak more actively on financial issues.
But they did, though. Like from the article, he wasn't bashing it until I got, when I got to the end of it, I saw his outline of it. But there are developers, and what he's saying is smaller developers are championing it. Like, and it does make sense in the context of this opinion piece. It does make sense, but at the same time, from COG's standpoint, there are people that's on the outside that's using this as a talking piece to bash.
Right. And that's
and they didn't read it.
Right. And my thing is, that's the part I'm just not with this. We are going to try to bash something that is beneficial, that's giving gamers a deal, and what you call is a deal. Like to me, there's concern if you
would be more happy if they're being charged more money.
Exactly. Like, to me, I can understand if you want to understand the business of it. It's like, I just want to know how it works long term. But my thing is, that's Microsoft and their money and their coffers for them to worry about. All I care about is, one, as a gamer, the immediate deal I'm getting, the benefit I'm getting, and two, are the developers getting taken care of? That's my main concern. If those two check boxes are happening, it's up to Microsoft to fill it. It's the age-old expression I've used before. I don't go to the car dealership and say, yo, this deal is too good. You giving me this month, and I need to find out why it's $100 off this month, or why you giving me 6 months free this month. Like, no one's doing that. So to me, people
it's like equivalent to like signing up for Netflix, like, I want to pay you the first month.
It's like, to me, people have some, let's be real, there's some people that have a certain agenda because they don't like certain platforms, right? And all of a sudden there's this concern we got to see. No one's doing that with no other product in life. You go and somebody say, yo, you getting this deal for this versus this? I'm getting that.
It's equivalent to going on Black Friday and telling people I want to pay full price.
Bro, what's this Black Friday stuff? How are you guys long-term surviving off Black Friday, Walmart? We need to see the numbers. We need
the problem
these TCL televisions sold for $20.
The problem that's going on here is you can sit there and compare them all you want, but what you don't do, and what I see people get confused are, is you're not comparing the actual business practices, because it's two entirely different business models. You want to compare two different business models to the actual ways that they earn revenue.
Exactly.
A subscription service has an entirely different business model than your standard selling stuff business model. That's the funny part. It's like they want to compare the two, and when you bring it up, that doesn't count. What you mean it doesn't count?
Like, look, I get it. In defense of this group, look, I get it. We from that era, like, sales, software sales means they're everything. The MPD means everything. Hardware sales means everything.
Done,
that's not the game Microsoft's playing.
Even Sony's going away from it.
Microsoft has changed the game from the beginning. Let's be real. Yeah. Right? They've forced you to have Ethernet connection. They forced a hard drive on you. All these stuff they forced online on you. All these stuff that y'all was raving against. No, we don't need this. No, I don't want
Why do we have to have Ethernet in the box?
Why is it on always? They're spying on me. They have cameras.
Meanwhile, we got Alexa.
Okay. With the PlayStation VR right now with cameras, the person that needs to be online to play stuff, you're the same person that need that Ethernet, because if you didn't have it, you wouldn't be on. I need to be hard lined in because the way my connection is, I can't do the Wi-Fi. You people. You people.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? You people.
I think,
you know who I'm talking about. You people.
I think the part that annoys me, King, is they're having the wrong arguments, the wrong debates. Instead of talking about something that saves you no money, say, I'm concerned subscription models is going to, encourage them to make games more grindy because they want more microtransactions at it. Like, they don't have the right conversations.
Addict. We growing up in a decade or age where when we show you our stack, it meant something. When it show
me your stack.
Whoa.
That's a whole natural situation I don't need to know about.
I don't want to see your stack.
I don't want to see your stack.
But we come from he who has the
show me the build.
I want to see my stack.
Whoa, we don't want to see that build, bro.
He who has the most toys win. Right? And Microsoft flipped that on his head. You can have all the toys in the world. All we want is your eyeballs. All we want.
That's how this city is. Just give us your eyeballs. Give me your eyes. That's all we want. It's your eyes.
I mean, I can take your eyeballs on the next pin the knee.
God. Here we go.
All they want is your engagement, right? Yes. And when Microsoft said engagement, people said, well, it's because you're losing. Right? Of course. Yeah, so what? Y'all winning at selling stuff. All right, we gonna win at having people view our stuff. See, and this is what Sony has to capitalize on. They have to have that subscription service mean something. It has. I talked to Cog the other day. I said, "Yo, I'm playing The Last of Us right now," and I said it's $9. Right? I got it confused because I had jumped out the window. Cog right there on the phone. I heard him. It's there. What? Wait a second. $9. Hold on. Let me get that now. When there's value, there's going to be purchasing. When there's value, there's going to be engagement. Cog wasn't pulling up that app until I said that. So if the word of mouth means that there's value inside your service, then the people will gravitate to it. What I'm saying for Sony is stop being all hung up on selling sales numbers. It's a talking point for you people.
So
and
I gotta
remove that away and get back to the engagement, because they're turning into the engagement now. You guys are just fighting against the storm.
And real quick, so the funny thing is, like, they talk about the negatives that Game Pass has done, cannibalizing sales. Let's not talk about the fact that Game Pass is probably the only reason the original Final Fantasies came to the platform. Let's not talk about the only reason that Kingdom Hearts came to the platform 1 and 2 is because they were able to use Game Pass to leverage. What about Persona? What about Yakuza? All of these were never on Xbox until Game Pass, because Microsoft was able to use Game Pass as a leverage to get people, I know you guys' games don't sell the greatest on our platform. We'll give you a bag and you'll have access to millions of people to hopefully gain a following after this.
Right.
You was gonna say something.
So let me play devil's advocate.
All right, let's go.
Let's say
I hate the devil's advocate.
Let's say for reasons, Game Pass plateaus.
Okay.
Right. And it stops growing, right?
Oh, me and Dirt had this conversation. I know where you go.
Yeah.
And then then it's not sustainable anymore, right? You can't sustain these humongous first party games or whatever. You can't really sustain it. You're not bringing in the money to bring in the big third party games. And the small stuff isn't enough to keep people engaged, and you start losing subscribers. Then what do you think? And again, it's a hypothetical situation, but hypothetically that happens. Do you think the people that are arguing that Game Pass is killing the industry because it's teaching people not to want to buy games? Do you think in that scenario they were right? Or do you think that it is a situation where, like King was talking about, the value just wasn't there? Again, and the idea that it's going to plateau may be a little far-fetched, but imagine if you're anything can happen. But if you're let's say you're in it just for the first party stuff.
Right.
And let's say Microsoft just drops the ball at damn near every single first party thing, and you don't see the value in it. And the third party stuff doesn't appeal to you as much because the games aren't as big or whatever. And the small stuff you can find on other platforms, whatever the case may be. So that's because, again, that's the argument, the opposite argument that's being made, right?
Absolutely.
That you're teaching people in the long term, no, I'm not buying that. I'm not giving them money for that.
Right.
So what are the thoughts there?
No, it's a good point. Look, we don't know. We can't predict the future, right? We don't know how this thing's going to play out. Yes, we know the coffers are big. They got the Scrooge McDuck money. You know what I'm saying? We understand that. But at the same time, it's an obligation on them to continue to put quality products in the service. And that's why I'm Lord Acquisition, because the reason being is you have to have studios making games. We just saw what happened with them in 2022 when everything fell on Bethesda. And then we saw the 2 delays, Starfield Redfall, and then nothing else was ready. But imagine if you have studios, right? And then you have them all producing at different cadences, because newsflash, games take long to develop. I don't know where people thinking it's like the 2 to 3 year thing, and where these games are taking 4 to 5 years. Exactly. They're big, and there's a lot of risk. So
only the best studios get games in 3 years.
Exactly. We just had John Johannes. We highly advise you listen to it or interview. He said Hi-Fi Rush took 5 years. Right? So again, if you got that cadence between release and creating games, right, you're going to need studios to feed this service. And it behooves Microsoft not only to have that, to also maintain quality, right? To have quality. You see, again, when in 2021 as like an example year, if Game Pass goes according to plan, so to speak, right? You have Psychonauts 2, Microsoft Flight Simulator, you have Halo and Forza Horizon, right? It all in the same year, right? Highly rated. What was it? Metacritic of the year that year, right?
Yeah. Publisher of the year. Yeah.
Publisher of the year. So it goes to show you, if the vision is executed correctly, right, and they have quality games in the service, you could grow the service. So that's going to be on them. All I was saying is, pretty much like, let's look at what's being offered as a consumer first. Does this provide you good value, right? B, all I care about is developers, these people who make games. We're gonna get into my topic afterwards about Firaxis, right? Firaxis makes turn-based, and it looks like right now, Midnight Suns ain't do well. I think they would love to be in a service like Game Pass. I think just theoretically, right? There's going to be certain things that it could help them. So that's why I think to your overall question, that's on Microsoft. to deliver the quality, to have that content drop and that cadence, and for them to execute. And if they do that, then they will achieve their goal of generating more subscriber numbers, because that's the game they're playing, letting you play anywhere you want to play, and then in the actual subscription service. So that's what I'm at with it.
Yep.
So I'm the king and
no, well, after reading it, and I understand that his concern was probably for the bigger people like Rockstar and stuff like that, where they have a disconnect with the consumer. He wasn't saying that that it was the Game Pass was bad. Yeah. Game Pass is a direct, how can you say it? A direct threat to the bigger guys. For the smaller guys, the upfront bag helps. Right? It helps give them exposure. It helps put them in front of the audience. It helps give them a cushion. It helps the smaller guys. In the long term, it hurts the bigger guys because they don't have the direct sale to the consumer. They don't have the direct communication to the consumer if the game is in it. So you can see why Rockstar would be resistant, because they will lose that line of sight with the consumer if they put their stuff in Game Pass. He's looking at a dystopian world in the views of it's just being Game Pass, and Game Pass becomes dominant. Right. You know, with the whole conversation around the sale of the ABK. Right. Right. If Call of Duty is inside Game Pass, and it doesn't cost Microsoft anything, I think they already did their $70 billion up front, right? Which is a ton of money. But over a period of time, that would pay for itself. Right. Now, if they give Sony, which I heard, it was a misinformation that was put out yesterday, where they offered Sony 15 years. No, the information was they offered them 10, they offered them 5, then they offered them 10. You know, and somebody came up with the number of 15 and said Sony turned it down. No, they're in quiet talks in the background trying to iron this stuff out. Now, them giving Call of Duty to the PlayStation platform, even if it's in PlayStation Plus, they still have to pay Microsoft. Right. So those sales still is going to generate revenue in Microsoft ecosystem. That's the conversation here. Once Microsoft is the owners of something that big that would generate that type of revenue, do you continue to support this thing? Do you hold out in hopes that your favorite game, because this happens to me all the time, ends up in the subscription service? Right. Because how many times have you purchased something and then a week later it's inside, and that forms a reluctance in purchasing? I get that. That's fair. So yeah, it's a cascading effect of Game Pass and how it forms trepidation in purchasing, how it forms a barrier between larger conglomerates and the consumer. And in this body of the piece, this is where he gives you his opinion on how it's affecting.
That's fair. And I'll just jump in real quick. I know I went again. Right. But I agree with that. That's something to monitor. Also, to monitor that I don't think no one's talking about is that if Game Pass gets to that level of success, right? And it's this curated list that goes in and out. You know, some state people get a 1 year deal, 2 year deal. The concern I have is maybe for the indie guy who doesn't get the Game Pass back, right? And then how does it affect those who can't get in the service and you don't have those extra, lights on you, so to speak? So that's something, to look at long term.
Yeah, I know a lot of people been trying to get their games in Game Pass, like a lot.
I agree. But no, that's a good point. Because it does make people say, okay, you know what? Damn, like if I wait, I might be able to get, you know what I'm saying, such game, you know what I'm saying, a couple months later, that type of thing. So yeah, we got to see. We got to see how it is.
And I think at the end of the day, too, these people were saying that they weren't guaranteed to buy it if it wasn't in that service or if it was in that service. Like, we don't live in a universe where we know what game would have sold well without Game Pass. Obviously, there's things that could go into place that I think could really be beneficial. But like I said, do we honestly think Outriders would have got support as long as it did if it wasn't in Game Pass, access to millions of people? And we don't know.
And the positive standpoint is, let's just say you don't go in Game Pass, you kind of bomb, and now Game Pass can kind of give you a second virality. You know what I'm saying? If you put it in the service later, and it's like you seeing some devs do that, right? They won't take the Game Pass bag up front. They'll sell it, whatever. And then all of a sudden later it'll come back and get like a second life because of the service. So it's all individuals, all depend on the studio.
And then you got stuff like the show's never been on an Xbox platform.
Right.
And because of Game Pass, it has access to millions of people that can actually make up for that lost time and not building a viewership or a fan base on a platform that didn't exist on for years and years.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's all I got. King's got more.
No. Definitely, that was about it. I mean, I just thought it was a very well written piece, and for people to bash it without reading it was kind of messed up because I saw it and I said, well, let me see, because this week was light on news.
Yeah.
And I said, well, let me dig deep.
Thank God Cliffy came up through. We would have made it work regardless.
No doubt. So for super chats, anything we need to do?
Yeah, so let's read these super chats first. You got a couple. This is hilarious. We got 3. We got the rubber knob. Member for 2 years, $5 super chat. Yes, 100% it damages sales, but does it damage overall profits? The average gamer will only buy a couple of games a year, other than COD and FIFA.
Yep,
that's true.
No doubt.
Then we have the Caucasian Negro spiritual.
Oh my God.
What's going on?
$2 super chat. What's happening, my fellow brothers? Harambe.
Yo, what's going on?
God.
What's going on? What's happening? Oh man.
Then we have Rob the Don 202, $5 super chat. It's funny. I've never seen think pieces of how free-to-play ruined direct sales because free-to-play has a more direct impact on younger gamers and does more harm, in my opinion.
Quite the name.
Wow.
That was interesting. What else we got, sir?
That is it. So, before we move into our next topic, this is for all of you out there who feel that the Iron Lords have sold out. You're absolutely right. 100%.
100% bags.
100%. So, with that, I'm going to ask my brothers a question.
What are we doing?
Gentlemen, how do you feel when I say the word honey to you?
You said what?
What'd you say?
Honey.
His
going
mic is so low.
Yeah,
No,
it's so
it-
low.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm speaking in my normal voice.
Why are you saying the word like that?
How do you feel when I say the word honey?
Shit, I don't like.
I don't know. I don't like how you're saying honey.
I mean, do you feel smart? You get excited when I say the word honey too?
No, I don't.
I just don't appreciate you saying it like that, man.
I feel like my girlfriend about to hit you up and say, "Stop spelling honey by man."
I understand what you guys are really bugging out. Like this is my normal timbre, my normal voice. I just, all I'm asking you is like, what do you think about when you say, you hear honey?
I'm gonna ask you to stop. I'm gonna look at you and say, please stop.
The way he said honey is just different.
I don't know about different. I'm the same, right? So listen, guys, get your minds out of the gutter. When I talk about honey, I'm talking about savings, 100% savings, because of course today's episode is sponsored by none other than honey.
It better be savings. It better not be no other honey going on.
Tell me more about honey.
I have no idea.
About this honey.
Look, honey. My voice just drops when I say it. So honey is the easy way to save when you're shopping on your iPhone or your computer. Thanks to honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past. Honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. Now, let me tell you how it works. Imagine that you're shopping at one of your favorite sites and then you check out. The honey button appears. And all you have to do is click on the button that says apply coupons. You wait a couple of seconds and honey's going to search for the very best coupon it can find for the site that you're on. Then if they find a working coupon, you apply it to your checkout, and that's it. Your prices are going to drop. So I'm going to tell you, For me, I've been using honey for a long time. And I know a lot of us have been using it for a long time. For me, 9 times out of 10, I'm using honey to buy food. Lady Saab knows that on the weekends, we have one rule. We don't cook on the weekend. There's no cooking in this house on the weekend, right? So what do? We're ordering out, whether it's pizza, whether it's Chinese food, whether it's sushi. We're going to go to our favorite delivery site, pick out what we want. We go in there, go into checkout. As soon as you go into checkout, honey pops up. And it's either, it depends on whatever the coupons available are, right? But it's going to find the coupons available. It's going to pick out the very best one for you. And I'm going to be honest, man, I can save anywhere from $5 to $15. If it's percentages, it'll be a 10% discount, sometimes a 20% discount. And this is every single time that I go on and purchase food online. So
how do I do it again?
It is, you just have to go in to your browser, add it as an add-on in your browser. And what's going to happen is anytime you go to a shopping site and you put something in your checkout, it's going to tell you, hey, there is X amount of coupons available. It's going to go through all the ones to make sure it eliminates the ones that aren't available. And then from the ones that are available, if they do have valid ones, it's going to give you the best possible deal you can possibly get, right?
I just downloaded it right now.
There you go. Oh, I mean, it's super easy. I know a lot of people have been using it for a lot of years. I've been using it for a lot of years. So when I say that, I'm happy and proud to be endorsing this, you have no idea. So
it was just that easy. That was crazy. Yeah.
That's it.
So just to clarify, you're saying that honey gonna search the internet and save you money for no
easy
effort.
For no effort. You just add
Why
it.
ain't people downloading this then?
You just have to add it to your browser, and that is it. So with all of that said, we give you some details that maybe you didn't know. So honey, it just doesn't work on your desktop, right? It's just not only for your desktop browser. If you have an iPhone, it works on your iPhone too. Same thing. Safari could be a little funny, whatever. You just install it on Safari and then you're saving on the go as well. So it doesn't really matter where you are. You can save no matter what. So what can I say, right? If you don't already have honey, you're straight up missing out. You're straight up missing out. And then by getting it, you're going to do yourself a solid and you're going to be doing your favorite podcast a solid and support us. So do that. How do you get down with this? You go to get PayPal honey for free, right? And it's PayPal honey now because PayPal put the ring on it a long time.
That's what I got.
PayPal honey, and put that ring on it for free at joinhoney.com/ironlords. I repeat, that is joinhoney.com/ironlords.
Do we have that link for the chat?
Yeah,
the link. Drop that in the chat.
Yeah. And to be honest with you guys, like all skit stuff apart, like, man, you save money doing nothing.
Nothing. So with that, I finish off with honey.
I'm gonna have to ask you to stop.
I'm gonna have to ask you to stop that part, but you got to give me that link. Go have to put that link in the chat.
Not to mention, games aren't cheap, man. So you save in other areas of your life. You can buy more games.
Exactly.
Oh, so you have a new fan of honey.
I'm
boy.
Sure I do. I do.
Oh boy. Yeah, someone's really excited about this.
We'll read that later. I don't want
read that later. But yeah, let's get the link in there. You know what I'm saying?
Let's get the link. Attic, would you mind doing that? Because I just
copy that, set that time, and put that in there because we got to save some money with the Lords. You know what I'm saying?
Let's see these super chats in here. We just got to go. It's hilarious.
Listen, I'm gonna need Solve to talk like that more often. What's up?
We got let me play with King's joystick. Yo, £2 super chat. Let me press that GP button, Kingy Boo. Kingy Boo.
Kingy Boo.
I don't even know. General purpose button. What's up? What's going on? See, now you gotta make me pour water in my.
The only thing I'll say is if anyone tries to make that kind of account for me, my girlfriend fights. So
she can't fight to win. Get it. Make sure you make an addict play with Addict's joystick. Get in there and play with his joystick.
Then we got CWU, $2 super chat. Get that honey.
Oh, mom.
Man, sorry, can't do. Can't do the Full Metal Jacket here, bro. Yeah, sorry.
Right,
Yeah,
so I'm at joinhoney.com. Okay.
You don't want
So how do I sign up for the savings? Okay, that's how we do it.
See, I got the PayPal one. I just did that joint just straight through my phone.
Straight though. Okay,
Easy.
cool. I'm doing it for the browser.
Because I pay for
PayPal,
stuff a lot with PayPal anyway, so it don't matter.
Exactly. Then we have let's play with each other's joysticks. $5 super chat.
His cousin is bothering me.
When I think of honey, I think about licking the rim.
Whoa!
Of the jar. Of the jar.
Whoa! Wow, it went somewhere. It went somewhere.
I gotta mute this.
You know, I hope to God that these are two individual people and this isn't the same person.
Well, we're
accounts.
getting one of them is from the UK, so it's definitely two different people. Unless you're putting up a VPN or something like that.
Nah, see, I'm safe. Solve is in danger. My person got to take a flight.
Yeah, your Paxis dollars are definitely going to a security detail for me as I walk the floor.
Yeah, he gonna need it.
Yeah, but it's like we said, guys, right there, man. At the end of the day, man, this is costing you nothing. It's gonna save you money. Go, rock with the honey, man. Rock with the honey.
Like I said, I've been rocking with honey for a long time. When we got this, I was like, oh, okay, yes, we get to support things that we already use because honey, it's like the easiest thing. It just pops up and it's gonna give you discounts every single time. So again,
I just integrated it into my browser right now with the extension.
Beautiful.
Oh, this is cool. No doubt. PayPal, honey, no doubt. Are we all set, sir?
Yes, sir. We are set. Let's move on. Yes, Super Chats are caught up.
No doubt. Oh, this is actually you, sir. PlayStation VR 2. What happened, big?
Yeah, man. The verdict is out. PSVR 2 reviews are in. Initial reviews for the first batch of games are also in, and for the most part, it's kind of overwhelmingly positive. I think in terms of the tech, most people feel that the tech is really good. I saw some early sort of comparisons in the week before actually the review started coming out, and they were saying that there were games running at a steadier clip on PSVR than on PC with a 3090 Ti.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, there is really something to, a bespoke sort of closed ecosystem and being to focus and work on that particular thing and kind of optimizing it as much as possible. So again, I checked my order. Mine is en route already. It's shipped. So maybe I will get it, maybe a day early. Maybe I'll get it tomorrow. But I'm excited to try it out. I know that we talked about the potential that, their projections for how many they'd be able to sell off the rip were, and they challenged those sort of projections, but the fact that they may not be able to sell as many as they wanted to. And had they sort of passed the point where VR as a tech that could be as big as people expected it to be, are we sort of past that point? But I will say this, I've been really impressed with what everybody's had to say about it tech-wise. The last thing you want is to buy something brand new and for it to be behind the 8 ball already, right? And be this sort of this thing that is not at the cusp of where the tech should be. So I'm excited that it's up there, right? And I'm also, what I'm worried about, and I think we all discussed this, is just the fact that, apart from, Call of the Mountain and maybe one or two other things, there isn't a lot in that launch lineup that I haven't played elsewhere, right. That I don't know that the extra fidelity is necessarily going to make, that big of a difference. And I really want to see if PlayStation's going to double down and make some games and give people a real reason internally as PlayStation fans to care about the PSVR 2. So I'm excited, but again, a little tentative as well. I want to know where you guys stand with this.
Alec, resident VR expert, how do you feel?
Nah, man, it's a sin to talk about the VR. Apparently, I have no interest in VR whatsoever. The only thing that really got me even remotely interested was, the Quest 2. It got me a little bit, curious about the VR world. But I got obliterated for my opinions on VR too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm gonna crawl up in my shell. I'm gonna lick my
I'm gonna abstain.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stay in here, man. I stand down. I'd rather play Tetris before I play VR, but that's besides the point.
Wow. Interesting. Lord,
because DBO came out. I don't need the VR right now. You know,
I
I want one of these places to show me like a lot of games that make me want to play VR, and right now I haven't really seen that.
Yeah,
fair enough for you, Lord King. You had thoughts about
Okay,
this,
well, I had put out I think it was last week. I told people, no, last week I wasn't here. The week before that, and I told people, yo, I have 3 statues. If somebody want to come up off that, they can get $1,600 worth of statues for the PlayStation VR because I'm not gonna give them my bread. And then I had somebody hit me up in my DMs, and they was like, oh, what about that Green Lantern? Because he wanted the Green Lantern statue I had. I said, no, I've been purged myself of the DC stuff. I just got the Marvel statues, but then I forgot I have a whole bunch of DC stuff upstairs. So again, I'm putting this out there for anybody that want to get those statues. It's available. And I go into it saying this: once Tencent shut down their VR engagement, as far as manufacturing a headset or making video games or whatever that they were going to do, they canceled that. They was like, no, because the sustainability of VR in this environment is not going to be viable. It's a very small niche ceiling for this thing. And I've always said this, that the PlayStation VR 2 feels like a niche passion project for somebody that's there. I don't know who got this thing greenlit, but from what I've saw with the reviews, the single wire, like this wire that I have here, runs to it, and opposed to the cumbersome, convoluted thing of the PSVR 1 and the Move controllers, which wasn't designed for it, but it did convey a certain level of immersion in it. I like the PlayStation VR 1. I thought the PlayStation VR 1 had a better launch lineup to begin with, and I thought it had the ability to go further. So it did have a better launch lineup. It did have other games that was with it. Even though it was like half-baked because of the camera was made for the Move stuff, a lot of stuff was Frankenstein together. It managed to sell 5 million. And I know the thought process is the PlayStation VR 2, it's not Frankenstein. It's something that's thought out. It was something that was made for the PlayStation 5. That's i.e. no back compat. No excuse. No back compat. More reasons to gouge the public again. But they have to sell this thing, right? I feel it's DOA. Not saying it is bad tech. Not saying that it's not transformative in the controls. Everybody I saw said the headset was more comfortable. It was lighter, if you believe it, than the PlayStation VR 1, and it had more tech inside, right? The controllers was made from the ground up for this. So this is a console, because it's a separate console, made specifically for a target audience. And the games aren't there. Call of the Wild gets a bit repetitive in the climbing instance from what everybody that I've seen.
I read that.
Yeah.
Very, very repetitive. Whereas after the first mountain you climb, you're like, yeah, I did that. But if majority of the game, 80% of the game is you climbing mountains, it's going to get a little bit repetitive. So you need to have a variation in the games that were available. Now, a lot of these games are available on other platforms for cheaper. This is the part, for cheaper, where the headset and there's no tethering is cheaper. This is a discerning consumer base now, right? Do you go get a Quest with lower resolution so you can set up anywhere in your house, anywhere away from your television, so you're not punching your television, busting your television up? You're in the foyer, you're in the living room, you're in the attic, wherever you want to be with it, you're untethered. Right here, you have to be in this situation, and it's $600, whereas the Quest is cheaper. The games are cheaper. I don't see the advantage, and don't tell me the 4K thing or per eye is 2K, man, and I have 100. That doesn't matter when you factor in the limitations and the limited software that's available to you. It doesn't show the wherewithal, and I don't believe Sony can stomach the loss. So after a year, I want to have the question, is it still around? Because we know They give you the 6 to 8 months. You got to work. You got to sink or swim, baby. And then they walk away from it. But they act like, they just stop talking to it. It's still there in the house, but Sony just like walks by and stops acknowledging the fact. And I want to see, where's the God of War VR? You did Gran Turismo. Where's these games that are readily available? Why aren't these things at launch for this thing? Where's the Spider-Man? Where's the Iron Man 2? Where are these things that's supposed to start selling this console to the people? And this is the reason why you took a million loss. You stepped back and said, first it was 2 million. Now our projections is 1 million. That doesn't sound good from the rip. I'm sorry.
Okay, get spoken. King has thoughts.
Thank you for ruining my excitement.
Keeping my hype level by pre-order.
right in the toilet.
Like Basil arrives, next week, and look, we saw the reviews. Mostly positive. The tech looks promising. I'm allowed to say that. Can't cover it because you're. No, I'm allowed to say that. Look, I will say the only thing I differ. I do like the launch lineup. I feel like to King's point, yes, there are people who have played a lot of those games other places. We get it, on Quest and other things. But there's going to be some people in the PlayStation ecosystem that have never and will give VR a try. So there's a part of me that wants to see how that does for them as far as the engagement, the attachment rate, and that kind of stuff. And then we got to give credit where credit is due as far as their first party lineup. So the hope is, obviously we see Call of the Mountain. They're known for the bombastic AAA first party kind of experiences. The hope is they will translate that into VR as well. So
and you ain't even Alloy though.
True. I know where you going with Call of the Mountain.
You a regular dude, and she come walking past like, oh, I see you in my game.
Why you gotta say it like that?
She like, yo, I see you made it. You came to the big show. You are a little sidebar.
Oh, well, listen. I mean,
how you gonna have a sidebar game give you a sidebar character?
I mean, we gotta take it to a fact.
Listen, I'm tired of Aloy, so let's.
Slander. Look, what I'm saying? Look, we got to see how that plays out into the overall canon and all that. So maybe that's what decision there. But I do want to see if they leverage these huge IPs that they have.
I want to throw an axe in God of War.
The Ghost of Tsushima's, you know what I'm saying? Last of Us, there's a lot of... Oh, you don't want that last?
Hey!
You don't want that Last of Us?
No, because they're gonna see that's in round 2. No, go remix 1 and put it in.
Look, we got to see. We got to see if they leverage it and that. So that's where I'm at. The only
thing I will say is the best people to give you games, I will say for VR, is a console manufacturer because they understand how important games are.
Yeah, it'll be good to see them in the space to see what
obviously they don't understand how important games are because they ain't give you no damn games.
You messy.
Listen, here, take this passion project junk that we got.
You are messy.
They didn't even put the main character. That's like playing Kratos, playing God of War, and you an ogre. Like, play the ogre side quest in VR. How can you tell me how much you don't really respect your product? Not even having the main character in. That's when I knew.
That's what you do.
Y'all didn't respect your own product. You don't have no faith in your own product. Y'all did not attach nobody to it. You said, what game can we throw out there? Somebody said, Call of the Wild.
Why you gotta keep saying Call of the Wild?
Call of the Wild.
They said, what the hell is that? He said, yo, I have this little thing that I curated that's about Horizon. He said, oh, okay. Not the main character, right? He said, yeah. He said, all right, that'll work. So who we gonna do? He said, yo, put Calvin in. He like Calvin. So you get a chance to control Calvin as he climbs mountains and he runs away from renegade robots. He said, that sounds dope. Put that in there. He said, okay, so we're gonna do the God of War. He said, yo, man, if you don't get the hell out of my office.
You're messy, bro. You're super messy.
They don't respect the product. How you gonna not respect it? You didn't put. This is the first time. This This is like launching a console and don't put no mascot. This is how I knew Virtual Boy was going to be trash, right? Because they put Wario. They didn't put Mario. They didn't put Yoshi. They put Wario. You don't remember that game?
Yeah, I remember that.
This is how you know your joint is trash when the company said, here's something that we don't use. It's Calvin, Call It a Wild.
You gotta stop calling him Calvin. Call It a Wild. It's not called Call It a Wild.
Yeah, it's Calvin's Call It a Wild.
Jack London's Call It a Wild.
You just completely butchering the name.
Play as the sled dog.
In this game, we climb mountains. I'm so sorry. Y'all don't want to stand behind it. Y'all don't want to put none of your mascots.
You call it how you see it?
Yeah, you don't put a Ratchet and Clank. They would not attach. How you gonna have it as a disassociation to you? Like, this is the wicked step cousin of the PlayStation.
The wicked step.
And they put it to the side, and it was like, well, let's see if it fly though. How you gonna let it fly if you ain't give it no wings? You just threw it out the window. It said, "Fly, baby, fly." It's nothing there. There's no sustainability there. And these guys keep talking about, but it's 4K in each eye. You ain't seeing anything.
So somebody DM'd me and was like, the God of War VR game is you play as Mimir and you just hanging off of Kratos' waist and your head is just bobbling to the side.
You get to see Kratos' butt all day in your head.
I can't.
Whoa.
I can't with y'all. Y'all messy. Anyway. What's up, man?
The Xbox podcast.
Yeah, clearly. Remember, these are the thoughts of King. Just remember.
These are people that's hyped for a $600 joint with no games, man. Y'all bugged out crazy.
Yeah, so that kills the enthusiasm for my pre-order. But yeah, me and Shaun will be checking it out.
Exactly.
Real soon. So I got my notification.
Cog will be back on Quest 2. Shout out to Cog.
Listen, shout out to any PlayStation VR 2 owners. If you guys get DBO, hit me up. We'll love to test cross-play. With
That's what he's doing. He's gonna laugh at you.
I'm gonna laugh at this.
Cock is gonna laugh at you. He's gonna laugh.
Look, PlayStation VR owners get a chance to play VR and PS5. If you don't have VR, PS5 has the Demio. Shout out to PlayStation for this, because Xbox, you got to get on it. Like, they got Demio, the PC version, but for the console, so you don't need VR as well, and we can do our cross-play. So hit me up.
How they gonna make their own joint obsolete? How they gonna take the hottest game and they said you don't even need the VR? That's how you know they don't really respect it. And if you don't have VR, you can still play it. This is the best thing you got, and they took it away from you. They don't like you at all.
With him, but I
can't.
Oh my God.
Flush the toilet bowl. $600. Listen, watch your money go down the drain later. Yo, use the Honey app. I can't. When you buy the VR, hopefully you can get some money off.
I can't with you, man. I can't with you. You are messy. You are so messy right now. Anyways, that's all I got on VR. Then I'm going to move on before King continues to get more bars off of this. Actually, my last one. We can combine it if you want. It's up to y'all. Unless we got super chats we got to get.
What, they're just Firaxis?
Yeah, it's just Firaxis. It's just me crying.
There's nothing else to combine.
I'm crying with you.
Yeah. So look, man, we already know what most of us know what happens. Shout out to FiraxisGames. Put out a statement. Recently, again, the legendary Jake Solomon and I believe also studio head. Find the gentleman's name here. Steve Martin. That's funny. Steve. Yeah. So after 27 years and 32 plus game releases, he's leaving FiraxisGames as studio head. I'm tremendously grateful for the opportunity of led the work of such a talented group of people in the past couple of decades. I'm proud of the legacy of games Firaxis has created and its reputation in the industry. I still look forward to cheering on Firaxis in its next chapter. Stay civilized. Obviously, one's responsible for the Civilization series and stuff like that. And then this one hits close to home for me, an addict. Jake Solomon, one of the legendary turn-based producers, XCOM, Solve's favorite. XCOM.
My favorite.
Yeah. After 23 years, he's moving on from Firaxis. He's a big dreamer. He fulfilled 2 lifelong dreams of making XCOM 2, and War the Chosen. That's my favorite, too. And Marvel's Midnight Suns. I'm the luckiest kid who ever lived. XCOM was my favorite game growing up. It's why I became a developer. Marvel Comics made me a dreamer, and those characters feel like my extended family. I'm grateful to Sid first and foremost for teaching me. And then he goes on to say he's grateful for 2K. He's thankful for everyone that enjoyed XCOM and Midnight Suns. He never take it for granted. He's now for letting him do his job. And he said his brain is on fire with a new dream. Time to go chase it. So basically, two major pivotal players, after leaving Firaxis, right after, Midnight Suns. And we know the story of Midnight Suns. It was not a commercial success. The heads of 2K came out and said, they were disappointed and that maybe they put some blame on themselves with the release date, be it at December. So, this is Cog's emotional moment. And, obviously I'm a huge fan of the turn-based genre. I don't want it to go away. My concern was that, they didn't do XCOM 3. They got the Marvel bag. It's a big IP. They put it out. It didn't do well. It's already now on sale, discounted, and it's already a trial demo is available. So I just wanted to, bring it to the realm. One, do we think the turn-based genre is in serious trouble? Because as much as I love it, right, we have to admit there's guys like Saul, there's guys like, King sometimes, like, or whoever, who just is like, look, I love these type of games. I mean, I don't like these type of games. I like Marvel the characters, but I may never play them in that, mode. And then the second thing is like, and I'm just kind of thinking like, do you think it behooves Firaxis or turn-based or RTS guys to kind of try to get a Game Pass bag so that maybe you get the virality of being in a service like that to kind of stick around, because maybe the genre is just not hitting. We know it's hitting for PC, right? PC seems to be the place these genres live, but maybe console gamers are just not giving my beloved turn-based. So I'm gonna give it to you, Attic, because this hits home for us. And even though you're an XCOM guy, you didn't really like Midnight Suns like that either. So
No,
I know.
it.
So yeah, so let's talk about these two departures and the future of turn-based.
I think the issue, I think, hope Jake finds success. It seems like he's gonna develop his own studio. That's what's being conveyed to me. I don't know if it goes through with that or not, but the good thing about it is I don't think that this is going to determine whether or not turn-based is successful. Like, this isn't just a turn-based game. It's a card-based combat with turn-based mechanics. And people don't like to play the card stuff in general. People don't like to play turn-based in general. So when you put them together, I know people like BG that really loved XCOM, and when it came to Midnight Suns, he was like me. He's like, I'm not feeling the card-based combat. We expected more of an XCOM traditional with the Marvel characters. And even though I don't think that would have worked out entirely to its core, I do feel like they could have found a way to make it work. I hope that they make XCOM 3, and I hope turn-based still go, because you see games like Fire Emblem do well, Mario Rabbids so pretty good. So I don't think that the genre is dead. I feel like they need an IP behind
Rabbids. Rabbids 2 flopped.
Oh, Rabbids 2 flopped?
Yeah.
It flopped?
Yeah, I was shocked. Rabbids 2. That's why I'm bringing this up. I'm just scared, y'all. Like, this is my favorite
Rabbids 2, I mean,
yeah.
With
a Mario license, they flopped.
I wanted to play that game. I guess dropping it around the time that it is.
Yeah,
I think it might go up. Sales might pick up when Zelda comes out. Right, because a lot of people like myself are sitting on the background waiting for Zelda or something like that, something really big to pull you right back into the to the ecosystem. I know other people have Pokemon and stuff like that, and I think that's very specific. I do want to play that game, and knowing how Nintendo don't ever put games on sale, and I don't ever wish for it to go on sale, I know it's not going to happen. So I'll probably get in then. But yeah, that sucks. I thought that thing would have sold because I know the first one was such a great thing.
The problem is that genre's niche, and I think that people like Firaxis have cracked the barrier in some way, shape, or form, because both XCOMs did well. So it's just like, look, like you need a platform like an XCOM, you need an audience like XCOM, and I truly believe that a lot of XCOM people just looked at that, Midnight Suns is like, that just doesn't look like something I vibe with.
Oh man,
and when you isolate the community that built you by doing something so drastic, I think at that point you're tossing a coin hoping that you get the best possible outcome. And Unfortunately, it didn't look like they got the outcome that would have been better for them.
No doubt. Solve your favorite genre, turn-based.
No, but I don't hate it like I used to. See, that was a very particular thing. He
used to sit in the background like, God,
damn it. You know, I used to. You just gotta understand, when I'd come over, I'm like, all right, we're gonna get this Halo on, we got this wrestling on, or Tekken.
We play XCOM.
Yeah, we playing XCOM. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, he hated it.
I'll be over here with my PSP. Thank you very much.
You're the problem solver. Don't even try it.
But I will say, Mario Rabbids, the first one, brought me into the fold. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this foolishness. Because the thing was, I was like, unbelievable. Rabbids and Mario, and it's a turn-based strategy game. So I'm like, wait a minute. Let me see. And the thing about it was good. It's like, it had all of the check marks when it comes to true hardcore, right? Turn-based stuff, but it had the cutesiness of, and for me, it was like, okay, it allowed me to sort of get into it without feeling too pressured. I remember you guys always talk about Overwatch and your characters are dying and that's it. And it's like, oh, I don't know. I just never gravitated to it, but that game got me interested. I'm like, okay.
And see, what's funny is those key features and those key, gameplay mechanics is I believe the reason it didn't succeed, because when people play these type of games, they do expect that management behind closed doors. They do expect the Overwatch type of mentality and the because I remember when XCOM Chimera Squad came out, it was a huge thing why you couldn't name characters.
You couldn't name characters. I remember that.
People expect that type of gameplay out of these type of games, and I think the reason that some of these games aren't doing it, aren't succeeding, is because obviously if you use a Marvel IP, characters aren't going to die like that. So there's
I do want to push back on one aspect of what y'all said. I'll give it right back to you in the sense of remember, like, even the best, the ones we consider the best, like shout out to my man One Bad Mother, he mentioned XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. Like, I remember the ports to console would take like a year before it would come over. Like, it's almost like they were not confident that the bag could be secured, or maybe they had the metrics to say, hey, when you put it on console, it ain't really doing the numbers like that. And then let's be honest, Chimera Squad never even came to console still. So there's got to be some trepidation with bringing these games to console. And I'm just worried that the genres, it might be.
This genre has always been on PC. At this point, if you want to play this genre, you might get some that leak through the cracks, but the majority of them are on PC. And if you want to really play this brand, like the Met games, there's a lot of other games. It's not XCOM that do very well on PC. And the problem is when you put these kind of games on console, besides like Halo Wars, the original one, it's very hard to sell. Very hard to sell.
But the crazy thing is that it's funny because I had this issue with XCOM, but then I love Final Fantasy Tactics though. Love
so
Tactics.
JRPG.
Yeah, maybe it was the aesthetic thing where I wasn't as big into the sci-fi at that point, and it just didn't. But Final Fantasy Tactics, and then I remember when Attic was playing Fell Seal, he was like, yo, this Fell Seal is crazy. And I was like, okay. And I downloaded Xbox. It. Yeah. And Fell Seal is kind of amazing. So the thing about it is
it's the closest thing you'll have to tactics.
To tactics,
like an actual tactics system.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, I don't see it going away. I do. And this is going to be sacrilege to you purists. But maybe find this middle ground in it. Like when you look at what they did with FF7 remake and the middle ground between the turn-based tactical and just straight up action and the combat action.
Yeah. Well, they already do that. The Valkyrie Chronicles they already do that. So.
So it's just going to be a matter. I think if they had done something of that nature, speaking specifically now to Midnight Suns, right? I think the card stuff, whether it's cool or not, threw a lot of people off. And they either were expecting or hoping for a straight up XCOM type without that extra, with the card system. Or like I was saying, like the FF7, like something that felt more actiony, where it felt like you had more control over the character directly, but also gave you that strategy underneath, like underlying layer of strategy, where it was like, okay, positioning and all this stuff matters, Overwatch matters, but I could control the character more directly. When you think about how you want to the fact of the matter is, when you think about Marvel properties and comic book properties, a lot of people just when they hear that, they think about a third-person action game because it's like, okay, I want to be able to inhabit this hero and play them and control them and feel like I am that hero.
Absolutely. I remember, not to cut you, but I remember that was the feeling when John Wick Hex got announced. And people were like, oh, John Wick game. Oh, turn-based. No, I'm good.
I'm good. Right. And it was awesome, but it was also that thing. It's like, damn, like, you didn't give me the action game with John Wick where it slows down and I could and do all this hot stuff. The closest thing to John Wick is Sifu.
Yes.
Without the guns, right?
Yeah, Xbox fan, y'all better support that. I'll be mad at y'all.
So I don't think. What do you think about the Josh Sawyer departure?
Oh, you mean Jake Solomon?
Josh Sawyer. Sorry,
don't
Jake
you
Solomon,
say Bob? I'm idiot now. That's 2 heart attacks in a week.
Wrong,
buddy.
Wrong studio. Jake
no, Solomon. I'm gonna be real. I think
because he hasn't really made a bad game.
He hasn't.
Think about it.
Listen, that man is made the soundtrack to the streets as far as I'm concerned. Like, you know, he's a legend, and he took. I want to give what's his name, my man? I think his name Julian Gallup, the OG that made XCOM, right? Don't get me wrong, I want to respect him. He now has Phoenix Point. He's a legend. But when Solomon came, like he's the Nas to the Rakim. Like he done took it turn-based. When War the Trojan came out, those XCOMs is God tier. Like the edge story, base level, every full package, right? When I see him leave, studio head leave, it's just cause I have no inside information. To me, that is you're being blamed for the lack of the success. Someone's head's got to. Again, I have no. I could be wrong, but the way I internalize it is like it's like when the 343 situation, right? Somebody got to pay. We this is somebody's dream. We had these projections for this Marvel license, right? We expected big numbers. It didn't hit. Now studio head, because I feel it convenient to be like, oh, by the way, guys, don't worry, new Civilization game's coming, which is the big
right?
Yeah, that's to offset the panic in the building. And I think this is just my cog opinion. I could be wrong. That dudes are being the bigger man and be like, okay, we're stepping down.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But the studio head and Solomon leave at the same time to me is a red flag. So I got to see how they move forward. Now, I hear some rumblings in the building like, calm down. It's not doom and gloom the way you think it is. There's things still cooking. But I just think, well, maybe the Midnight Suns thing was, you know what I'm saying?
Had to step on the grenade.
Yeah, somebody had to pay. And I feel my man taking
somebody had to eat that.
Yeah, that's just how I feel. But I could be wrong.
But it makes sense. Again, you get the first time a game like this gets a Marvel license, you're hoping for a big success, and you make a good game. You make arguably a great game.
And now we're gonna have a conversation.
Oh, I'm about to put you.
We're gonna have a conversation.
Okay, I'm real close to kicking you from the
zone. All right, so we know, it didn't look visually like how it should have.
Okay.
I think some of the designs on the characters could have been a little bit different. Not saying that they weren't true to what their vision was, but the PlayStation 3 graphics really,
that's fair.
That's really a pushback. Now, are we at the point now where you don't slap Marvel's name on it and think it's going to, sell gangbusters? Are we there yet? Do we not learn already from Marvel Avengers with the Nifnod costumes and the characters that weren't comic book accurate?
Are you the same person that attacked me because of Star Wars a couple weeks ago? Oh, why the game do go? Because of Star Wars.
But I think there's something to be said about like what I said. When you play a superhero game, you want a third-person action game, and
even just one.
Just one for sure, 100%. And the reason.
Oh, those are popular.
That's very popular. Very popular. In case you didn't know, now this is the caveat, right? When you look at Guardians, right? Guardians is that, but Guardians did, I think. The fatal era of Guardians, right? Guardians was a great game.
I know you're gonna go.
It was coming behind
Avengers. It had the bad
behind Avengers, right? And the Guardians wasn't. It was kind of a hybrid of that. It's like, oh yeah, you can control your other teammates, but you're a Star-Lord. If you're not a Star-Lord fan, you're stuck playing a Star-Lord. And
I gotta play that.
Everything is on the
game. It's amazing.
It's a dope game.
Yeah, I finished it.
But again, can't slap Marvel name on it. Think it's gonna win. Now this game really, first of all, it's a niche type of game. This genre is not for everybody. You're gonna stop acting like y'all was out here selling all these games to these people. No,
King,
no,
this is hurtful. I'm hurt.
I understand, but we was the ones that were playing it, right? So now that we got this situation, why didn't you put it in Game Pass? Oh, because your head was too big. You said, no, we have the definitive formula. I feel like our formula is lit. We are the best in this formula. All we need to do is slap Marvel on it, and it's gonna sell gangbusters. Newsflash, fool. You should have went and put it in the service. You should have teamed up. You should have tucked your tail between your legs and say, because I know PlayStation probably came at you. I know Microsoft probably came at you. Game Pass dudes try.
Yeah,
we
2K,
try.
I don't think 2K's ever really put games in their day.
No, but NBA 2K has been in Game Pass multiple times.
NBA 2K.
Oh, not day.
But they show up there sometime in the year. I think the fact that it's a niche genre, you should have put it in Game Pass. And then you should have been able to sell you could have nickeled and dimed them
the DLCs and the characters. Yes.
Especially with the characters.
Especially with the characters.
All day. You messed up the bag. And in doing so, you drag great people down with you. I don't put it on the studio heads. I put it on the publisher, and I put it on the company heads.
They did take responsibility. They said they think they made a mistake with the December release.
Yeah, but they ain't quitting.
They think they made a mistake with the December release date?
Yeah, they said it publicly. They said they tried to take some of the bullet.
Yeah, we take the bullet, but we gonna push them out the door. You didn't take a cut in your pay to make sure that he stayed on. You didn't come out and put out a public apology to the development heads. You didn't say, "Oh no, they did a fantastic job. We just messed up marketing. We just messed up placement. We just messed up timing." You didn't say that because it's a great game. Otherwise, so who else is the problem? It's the people that was distributing it, publishing it, and placing it. So marketing sucked. Distributing sucked.
Now that marketing is a lot of marketing.
They put a lot
in the wrong site.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Even if you put that in Game Pass, if you put that in PlayStation Plus, if you put that at Epic Game Store, that's only going to generate a certain amount of money. And this is Marvel licensing we're talking about, probably 3 to 4 years of development. Like, I don't think they were going to get that back that easy.
And I'm going to tell you, you start placing that game inside Game Pass and PlayStation Plus and Epic Store, wherever, and you drop out iconic characters for the sale, for the $2 here, $2. I just picked up a skin the other day just because it was Piccolo. I said, "Oh, Piccolo in there."
Fortnite. That's Fortnite.
So what? This is the same.
Different though. It's different.
If you come over there and you Carnage,
the thing about Fortnite is you can show off in Fortnite. I got this skin. I got that. That's a single player game. There's no multiplayer.
I'm showing off.
You literally buying stuff. You're like, yo, that's cool. Like you're not buying. King. So King, if Fortnite was a single player game and you bought that and you couldn't show that to anyone, you couldn't flaunt that out to anyone, you gonna buy Piccolo?
Yo.
Okay.
I'm guilty.
Right
yo, you know why? You know why I'm guilty? I'm guilty of getting what I want. I'm that dude. I don't care. Yo, literally, I don't care. Man. I don't care who's playing around. Nothing. I tell people all day long. I don't care who sells.
All I want is Naruto. That's all I want.
Right, but if you had a game where even if it's single player and you can change that skin to whatever you want, the people that you want, you're gonna do it.
Absolutely not.
That's you. But me, they're getting my $2. I was just talking to Cog like, where's my Daredevil at? How do I get it? Because I paid for this.
Well, because you paid for it. It's not like they're asking. What? How
no,
much
but
stuff
if I
you bought on?
Gonna do it anyway.
How much stuff have you bought on Destiny?
Oh my God! Oh my God!
That's my point. It's a multiplayer aspect. What did you buy on anything else that's not a multiplayer aspect? Did you buy anything on Marvel Avengers?
Ew. Come on, wait a second.
He's like, he said, "Ew."
Come on, I'm gonna tell you. First of all, when you have my man with a broken collarbone and all that stuff, you get me dirty from the rip with my man.
Spider-Man for me.
But see, in that game, I purchased the Mr. Fix-It costume. I purchased the Gladiator Hulk costume. I purchased stuff that mattered to me. Now, ask me, do I play with anybody in the game? Hell to the no. I don't care. But again, it boils down to how the game was distributed. I'm saying this: that game being in it, if you're gonna take the hubris out of it, remove the hubris.
Right.
And I know you got to make back the money off the licensing. Microsoft bag up front would have got you halfway there.
You would have getting security for sure.
Yeah, Sony's bag would have got you halfway there. You know, so you
yeah,
get
but
there.
we gotta consider that most of the time when one of them signed you for something like that,
6 months
the
on that on the other
contract,
guys.
they saying you can't go on the other guy.
Yeah,
So
we double back later. We be back. You look at whoever the market leader is, right?
But in 6
You
months,
go
these
to
type
Sony.
of games don't really have that longevity like that. Like, it's so you got to look when it comes to gaming, it's a very fast tsunami. By this time next week, everything we play now, for the most part, everyone will be moved on to the next thing.
So let me ask you a question, Attic, and you owning the company, right? Do you say, all right, Game Pass has the most engagement? We could take the bag from Game Pass and we could put the game in there and we could sell it every place else. Or you say, to hell with all of that, to hell with the security. Let's just put this game out there and let's go get it because you know we got the best product.
I can't like speak on like, you know, if I was in that scenario, I would be a different person entirely. Like if I had my mindset, I probably would have built the game differently than try to sell it.
No, I'm just
but
asking
to me,
you what,
like
just like that. That's
it's hard. It's hard to take something like the Marvel IP and say, let's go to Game Pass. Like you got the Marvel IP probably coming off of like the greatest movie sets that's ever been. Like that scene at the end game where everyone came in, that's probably the greatest moment and not anime and movie history. And it's hard to sit there and have those type of characters in your hand and say, yo, we ain't gonna believe in ourselves. You got probably one of the best, most iconic characters in your hand, and I have it hard to believe that they didn't think that was going to blow up.
Maybe they thought this was going to be the thing to break
That move.
turn-based through. Because listen, they didn't do XCOM 3 in its place.
It's a reason why they didn't tell you it was cards until later.
It's
a reason. Listen, stop acting like you didn't know they
were very upfront.
No, they were not.
They were not. Now, did the card system
maybe because you didn't
simplify
look,
the game?
but I looked.
The card system actually simplified the game for people who feel
it's
turn-based
in the
is
trailer,
extremely
like,
complicated.
Look, I don't like the card aspect, but I'm not going to say they were being like deceiving.
It was like Midnight Suns. Check us out.
Check us out.
When they did the deep dive,
Check us out.
Deep dive. I remember dudes like, "Oh my God, it's card."
Can't try to act like they were doing some shady,
business.
We thought it was gonna be the normal formula. We thought Overwatch
with Firaxis,
and we gonna place it. We gonna do this, and then when they said, and then the card system. Who said, what the hell is that?
I can't.
I said, wait a second, time out.
I feel like
it was a mobile game after that.
I just feel like if they would have tried to go a little bit more traditional XCOM style gameplay, they would have got people like me and BG, and maybe it would have got a little bit more up there.
You know what?
I don't know if it would have sold like tremendously or anything like that, but I personally feel like
they would more than it did.
I think I know what other mistake is, and we know what's a lot of people talk about it. Let's just say they believe it so much they either won the Game Pass bag or whatever, PlayStation Plus bag would have been big enough. I think the mistake that they made is, do you know this is not available on Switch day one? The Switch version is still coming. I think they missed out by not having the Switch also.
So it was coming in hot then.
Yeah, Switch is still coming later. It's still
going to come in hot, man.
Yeah. But I just thought I would have helped.
I don't know. The graphics of that game, little suspects.
I mean, you yourself said it looked like a mobile game, so clearly the port can't be that.
So maybe it could. Even that game probably would have a hard time running on the Switch.
Man. You out of pocket. Anyway, I'm moving on. I don't want to beat this shit down too much because y'all get me emotional. Can't get on my nerves.
No, it's just that I think that the game would have did fantastic inside a Game Pass environment, being that it's a niche game. These guys was too high on a hog with the fact that they had the Marvel license, and they was like, yo, we got the best formula. We're going to put some Marvel characters. We're going to sprinkle that in there. And, yo, I know the card system. They threw that out there. And dudes is like, I'm not feeling it.
I'm going to be real with you guys. We got 5 minutes to close.
Yeah, we got to go look. So, look, Midnight Suns is lit. Go play it. It's a free demo out right now on PlayStation and Xbox and Steam. Go check it out. Go try it. See what it is. And I agree with King that, look,
PlayStation 3
2K, humble yourself if possible. put it in Game Pass or one of them
Yeah,
services.
they do it
get
when the
back,
price drop,
right?
right?
And repackage it with DLC. Jake Salman, I see you, brother. Do your thing. I'm looking to see what you got cooking.
We need
up.
Come on the show, man. Come
on the show. I want
how
you
they
to talk.
screwed you over.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Because you gave a great product and they screwed you over and they
All right,
talk
Paul,
like it's your fault.
Time.
Let's keep going.
Time on him. So anyway, let's get the super chats. Get up out of here.
Let's go.
Yeah, we don't got too many. We got, let me see. Argitani member for 1 year, $5. I can see the negotiations with security. We need you to protect Saab's joystick from let's play with each other's joystick.
Yeah, it needs to be protected.
We gonna put a chastity belt on him.
I can't. Then we have let me play with King's joystick.
No.
£2.
Yeah.
Lighter, comfortable, and better tech inside, like King.
Oh,
Hey,
whoa,
yo.
hey,
Have you
yo.
noticed? Have you noticed Black Addict and White Cog? He's been MIA for a while.
Yeah. No, we good.
Then we have let me play another one. We have Lawrence Davenport, member for 2 months, $5. Super chat. I think Marvel's Midnight Suns and Evil West are good games, but released at the wrong time.
Yeah, could be. Could be. Valid. That's valid. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, poll. That new poll is up with third-party Game Pass. Which third-party Xbox Game Pass game do you think will cannibalize sales, generate the most increase to subscriber once it hits the service? The choices are A, Atomic Heart, B, MLB The Show 23. King like that one. C, Wolong, Fallen Dynasty, and D, no Messy Lords, Lies of P. So, which 4 of those do you think will maybe cannibalize sales, but do the most increase to Game Pass? I'm curious which one y'all thinking.
It kind of feels like the Souls game, right? The two Souls games, right? The 2 Souls games, right? We'll see which one of them is better.
What about Atomic Heart? Atomic Heart, look out here.
That's Liza P.
Yeah, it feels like it'll be the Souls game, whichever one that is.
all right, no doubt. So that's all we got. Look, man, we did that today, y'all. I gotta celebrate us.
Man.
We celebrate us. We did that today.
We got 3 minutes.
I would like to take the award.
Oh, we got 3 minutes. Oh, because of the premium. Sorry.
Yeah,
So yeah,
Cliffy B, thanks, bro.
Yo, CliffyB, the legend. Salute. That was fantastic. Go check that.
It was an
one.
amazing
An
interview.
amazing interview. He was so transparent, and he gave us the bars, and he actually respected the road, which we thought might have been hard, based on Cliffy.
But it wasn't.
He did his thing, and again, we're gonna do what we doing, Addict, right after this ends. The legendary
Premiering straight into the Hi-Fi Rush interview.
Hi-Fi Rush interview. The Lord secured it. John Johannes. We sit down with the legend. So if you missed it in the pre-show, we're gonna send it right after this. Right now, you're gonna go get that.
Yeah,
Game of the Year candidate.
The whole interview's great. And even if you watch it, go over there and give us a like, man.
Yeah, go get the like.
Play my joystick. Saab ain't there, but
Shout
you still like it though.
Shout out to you. I wasn't able to be there, but it's a fantastic interview. Fantastic.
You catch me on Twitter, Lord Addict ILP, and that's all.
That's it. King good. We got
R&R with the Lords this Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh man, Ant-Man, it's gonna be crazy.
Ant-Man spoiler cast, man.
Exactly.
Last of Us.
And thank y'all, Realm.
Yeah, last thing for me.
What's up?
Honey. Yeah, on the front, I pinned it, man. I pinned to go in there.
Go sign up for the honey, yo.
Save some money.
Save us some money.
It's pinned to the chat, man. Go save some money.
Lord Metroid, $2 super chat.
Lord Metroid, you did yourself, fellas. Thank you very much.
Love y'all.
Blessings.
Peace. Is going.
Tom.
Ready? Yes.
Tom 909, $2 super chat. Serious one this time. Fire show last. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Good night. Peace.
Peace.
Mm-hmm.